Hi, everybody. This is, it's little old me and Bill, and we have a special guest today, Mr. Steve Vi Boiser. What's up, man?
Oh, just chilling. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing all right. Living as much as anybody can live in 2020.
Very crazy time. Very crazy time to be alive, for sure.
Yeah, I know, dude. Like, who would have ever thought in 2020 we would be doing this shit?
Yeah. although, could you imagine how shitty it would have been for this to have happened like 15 years ago?
Oh, it would have been a nightmare.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago, like Netflix was still like, well, let me mail you these DVDs. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yep, hell yeah.
The amount of ways to kind of keep yourself busy, like people would have been much more reliant on just like pretending that these Legos are a thing or whatever, as opposed to like actually having, entertainment media kind of shit.
Yeah, man, it's wild, dude. I wonder how many people now, like if they took like a statistics test just to see how many people would actually remember that Netflix used to be, you would like mail in the videos, the DVDs
that's a
and
generational
shit.
thing.
You know what I mean? It's so funny that I even forgot that was a thing.
Probably like any like teenager now probably is like, what the fuck is a DVD? What do you mean they mailed it? What's mail?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, like Amazon. Amazon sent you the DVDs.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Is that how it
works? And wasn't there a video game one? Gamefly?
Which
Gamefly.
Still exists.
Is that still a thing?
I think it is.
Does that still exist?
I feel like it is. I never used it, but I remember seeing the commercial like all the time.
Once Google Stadia doesn't continue to flop, maybe that'll go out.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Google Stadia? I don't even know what that is.
It's like a streaming gaming service that Google's doing.
I remember it looking very promising.
Yeah,
when they announced it, and then it kind of just fucked off.
Yeah,
and I haven't heard anything new.
Well, have you tried? You have a PS4, Stevie?
My girlfriend has one. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a PS4, Bill?
Yeah.
So I tried they have the PlayStation Now app, which is the
Xbox
same idea.
Has that too.
Yeah, the Game Pass. Is that what that one is?
I think so. Yeah.
And it's essentially like you could if you don't want to like save the games onto your system, you could actually stream them. But every time I've tried it, you have to have like a baller internet connection to get it to work.
Yeah, there's no way I could.
Otherwise, it sucks.
Yeah, it's just lags. Like the cool thing about the PlayStation one is you could download, as long as you pay for the subscription, a lot of the games you could just download onto your console and play whenever.
Okay. So, but you need some sort of internet connection. It says,
exactly.
like,
but not all of them. Like some of the games you can only stream, and then you need a good internet connection.
Okay.
Like I tried streaming Grand Theft Auto 5, and it was not happening.
That's a heavy game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But yeah, I guess Stadia, the concept was they release like a controller for it, and essentially that's the console.
Yeah, that's it.
And like it casts to like a TV or a monitor or something, and then like connects to your Wi-Fi, and you could stream games on that platform.
I mean, that's questionable to have a console in a controller. Like,
I don't know.
Powerful enough.
Yeah. I have no idea. I think
I mean,
that's
you're really relying on the internet and like how powerful that is. And,
well, apparently Google's servers were like fucked when that happened, which is why all that shit. Yeah, apparently like there was tons of errors and shit happening, and that's why it fell off.
When did they drop that? Like, when did it come out?
I want to say within a year. Like last year, I think
thought it was even like later or earlier.
I thought it was 2019. I could be wrong.
Maybe they announced it a long time ago.
Interesting.
I know they did announce it in like 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's like maybe their answer to like the Nintendo Switch. You know, they're like, Nintendo made a powerful handheld device that you can do all this crazy stuff with. Like, let's do that.
And we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't trust it.
But then they did it not good.
Yeah, exactly, man. You know what? Like, I'm kind of, because I was thinking like, okay, now that Nintendo's doing this and Switch sales are like, I mean, Nintendo's doing better than ever with the Switch, like business wise, like it literally, I mean, saved them from like the Wii U and shit. It was just a complete 180. And like, I've always been a big Nintendo dude, so I'm very happy to see like them have that type of success again. But I was very curious to see if PlayStation or Xbox was going to go down try and do something with like that portable route.
Nah.
Yeah, and
I don't think.
I'm glad that they didn't, man.
Yeah, I'm really glad that it worked out. Same, I'm a big Nintendo fanboy. I have more Nintendo consoles than anything else. Like I have NES, I have a Super Nintendo, I have two 64s. I have a Wii U that my girlfriend bought me for my birthday last year so that I could for Christmas last year so that I could play the Zelda games that I was missing out on.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I have a DS, I have a 3DS, I have a Switch, I have I have two Game Boy Colors, and then I have like PS2. I was never one of those gamers that was like, new thing, let me trade in all of my stuff to get $5 off of this other shit.
Yeah,
like I was so in love with like the things that I had, and I was so behind the video game curve that like I had a N64 was like the newest console that I had until I was in, I want to say like maybe 8th grade. When everybody else was like balls deep in PS2, I was like, oh, cool, I finally got a PlayStation. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. Dude, it was the same thing with me. I still have all my video game consoles. They're all in they're all in boxes in my room in my apartment. But like I was the same way. Like I was always so behind the curve, and like I just hang on to everything because I would look at like, GameStop, you go in a trade, like even a game that you paid like how much money for, and then they're like
rake you over the coals.
There's like here's $13, and it's just like fuck it, I might as well keep it at that point.
Totally.
Yeah, and
like I remember there was one time even where like I was gonna go, I had an extra copy of like Pokemon Blue or something, and I went to it wasn't GameStop, it was like a kind of like a mom and pop shop to trade it in. It was like, oh, I'll get rid of this extra copy. Like I still see that they're selling them for like $40. Maybe I can get like 20 or $30 for it. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you like $8 in cash or like $12 in store credit. And I was just like,
no,
I'm gonna hold on to this. Like, forget that. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. And it's just like, I don't know, somebody will get more joy out of that than like parting with it for $8. I wouldn't do that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah,
I ended up just giving the extra copy to a friend.
Oh, okay. There you go. They probably valued it way more than anybody else would have.
Exactly.
I hear that shit. So what Zelda games were for the Wii U?
They had Skyward Sword, which is technically so in the Zelda timeline, Skyward Sword is the first game in the series.
Really?
So I wanted to, I a couple tours ago, I was bored while we were driving, and I was just like looking at Zelda videos. Oh wait, no, we were at Spencer's house. This is before we even like hit the road. I watched a video one night at like 3:00 in the morning that was just about the Zelda timeline.
Sure.
And so it showed you chronologically like which order the games go in and how the timeline breaks down and stuff. And so I was like, man, it'd be really cool to like play them in order. So she actually ended up buying me a Wii U for Christmas. Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess are the two that are for Wii U.
Because Twilight Princess was like a Wii launch title, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah. So you can play it on the Wii U.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
That makes sense. Yeah. I never played it though. I like played it maybe for a little bit, but I never really dove into it. I want to play Skyward Sword too, but I never had.
I was in the same spot. Like my little sister had a Wii and I was house sitting for her while her and her husband were out of town. And I remember starting the game and being into it, but then they got back home and I was like, well, guess who doesn't have a Wii?
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Well, I played Link's Awakening. I forget. I think I played it on that Alter Beast tour that we did last year, and I beat it on the road, and that was really sweet. I like that game a lot, and I still haven't beaten fucking Breath of the Wild. I just got to fight Ganon, but
I'm in the same boat. I've helped all 4 of the Divine Beasts. I've done a bunch of side quest stuff.
Same.
And with that game, I was being very naive when I started playing it. I was doing this thing where I was like, I'm just going to save up all of my spirit orbs and not use any of them and just try to beat the game with like what they give you naturally. And then I was fighting Thunderblight Ganon, and I had 5 hearts because I had my starting ones plus the one that I got for beating the first Divine Beast, and like I literally had to fight him like 30 times because once he got to his final form, almost any attack that he did was like a 1-hit death with 5 stars. So I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't even know how you did that, especially with one stamina wheel too, like, or one little part of it. Holy shit, man.
I made just like a stupid amount of potions.
Yeah, you must have, dude. Fuck, man. Like that's so funny, dude. Wow. Yeah, that game, like, I remember, like, now I obviously have a lot of hearts and a lot of stamina, but I remember at the beginning of the game, like, how fucking hard it was. Because they just throw you in there.
Right, because it's very open world.
People,
yeah.
A lot of people were calling it, like, the Zelda equivalent of Dark Souls, just because, if you were just wandering around in the beginning of the game, there's, like, 1.5 million things that would just kill you.
Yep, exactly. But what a fucking sick game, dude. Like, I cannot believe how mind blown I was. Like, just like when I first, because
it looks awesome. Like I've seen the gameplay footage and it looks so fucking good. It is the shit, dude. It might be my favorite Zelda game that I've ever played. Really?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Just because like it doesn't feel like a Zelda game, but then there's certain parts where you're like, yo, this is a Zelda game, and it's the shit. Yeah. Like the little story tidbits and shit like that. And it's just like. Yeah, it's like, it reminds me of like Zelda mixed with like open world Dark Souls hard type shit. That's mixed with like Final Fantasy type like story stuff. Yeah, it's a really like.
Do you have a favorite Zelda title? Like, are you a fan of the series much?
Yeah, you know what? Fuck, man. I don't know.
You just said Breath of the Wild was your favorite.
It's probably my favorite now, but what it beat out was Wind Waker was my initial favorite Zelda game I'd ever played, which is like I guess the unpopular opinion of the world. But let me give you the Jason Zelda timeline. So I had a PS1 growing up. Like I didn't have I had a Game Boy, but I had and I had not Link's Awakening, but I think it was one of the Oracles games. The Zelda Oracle games.
It's either Oracles of Seasons or Oracles of Ages.
I had the blue one, whatever the blue one was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think it was Oracle of Ages, but I tried playing that and I sucked at it. And obviously it's a lot different from the Zelda games that were out at the time, which were Ocarina of Time was out, and so was Majora's Mask. But I never, all I had was like, it was like I was the only one in my friend group that had a PlayStation. Everybody else had an N64. So like I would go over to my friends' houses and watch them play Ocarina of Time, and I would just look at it and be like, this looks impossible. Like I could never play a game like this.
It was a pretty big game at the time.
Yeah.
Like, scope wise.
Oh, totally.
You know? Yeah.
It felt like a big game.
Like we laugh at it now, but back then it's like, holy shit.
Well, it looked like a serious game too. Like the first cutscene with Ganon on the horse and shit. It's like, whoa, like
pretty cool.
I'm trying to play Crash Bandicoot, dude, and that's hard. Like,
yeah, right.
Dude, I literally remember the first time I ever played a Zelda game. My mom and a friend of hers used to own a cleaning business, and they're like, so like, you know, they like went to people's houses and cleaned their houses and shit. Well, during the summer, a lot of times my sister and I would get dragged along to these places with my mom. And there was this older lady named Karen that like had this house that was just way too big for her. And her grandson was like off at college, and his room was one of the rooms that would be cleaned. And, you know, when we would go over there, she'd be like, oh, yeah, you guys can go in here and like play video games while your mom's working.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time was one of the games that he had. And I remember like putting it in and seeing that opening cutscene and just being like, what?
Yeah, dude.
Like, what is this game?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's cool. I love that game. I mean, like looking back on it, I love it. And like now that I've actually had a chance to play it, and Majora's Mask, I do really like a lot too, just because of how fucking weird that game is.
Majora's Mask is easily my favorite Zelda game. It's just because it's dark. Yeah, it's moody. It is. It's like a very. The game almost has like kind of like a hopeless feel, and the further into it you get, the more you realize that like while you're trying to chase one avenue of the storyline and help a certain amount of characters, like everybody else that you've helped at every other point that you've started from day 1 and gone to day 3, like everybody else becomes like completely miserable without that assistance or without your involvement in their story. You know, it's like time you spend the 3 days like going through a dungeon or whatever, the little girl that is out on the ranch gets abducted by aliens, and her family is like completely like has no idea. Or, you know, if you're essentially it's one of those things where like you can only save so many people.
Yeah.
But as you go throughout the game, you see where everybody's stories go and like these miserable paths that they lead to. So while you're helping characters A and character C, like character B and then D through Z are all like doomed.
Yeah, they're fucked. So, yeah. Man, it's a weird game
very,
too.
Very bleak.
I don't know if you ever went down this avenue, but like I remember there was a period of time, and it's still sort of there, but I used to be really into that website, that creepypasta website, where it was all these like fictitious stories that are supposed to be scary based on video games. And there's a huge one about Majora's Mask. It's called like it's called like Ben Drowned or something. Yeah.
Yes. Have you read that? The game being haunted.
Yeah. Have you read that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't read it. I watched a YouTube video that went through like the entire thing, and they showed like the cartridge
and the footage.
Talked about that. Yeah. Talked about the scene that happens like when the game starts and like as you're dude,
it's fucked, man. That shit I read that story when I was in college, and the character in the story was the same age that I was, and like it was just so fucking freaky, dude. Like that, to this day I still think that's like the scariest, or at least the best creepypasta thing that I ever read. But yeah, it's some wild shit, but it also like fits with that game very well, because it's just an eerie game, you know, to a certain degree. I'm a big fan of that, but I still have to stand by Wind Waker. Like that was really the first Zelda I really got to play, because I had after PlayStation, all my friends had N64s, and I was like, fuck this, I'm getting a GameCube because everybody's on Nintendo's shit and I want to be too. So I got a GameCube, and then all my friends got PS2s. So it was like, I was just like, you know what? Fuck.
The betrayal.
Yeah, it was just like, God damn it. Like, now I have to fucking, I guess, catch up. And, but yeah, I mean, I remember when Wind Waker came out, and I was like, cool, I'll get it. I'll finally be like the guy to play a Zelda game when it comes out. And I liked it a lot, but I remember how many people fucking hated, like, you know, the art style of the game and how cartoony it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Guilty.
Do you like it? Do you like it now?
I like it now. Yeah. And actually, so the first time I played it, was actually this girl that I was dating. Her and I would like play video games together. So we'd start a file, and then we would just go back and forth, like passing the controller back and forth, like through stories and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
But Wind Waker was like her choice. And so we played through Wind Waker. At the beginning of the game, I was like, oh, cool. Look at this dorky not Link. Cool. Great. And then like, as we progressed through the story, I was like, you know, this is kind of cool. I don't really like the sailing thing. I could do without that. Yeah. But, you know, this is pretty sweet. And then by the end of the game, I was like, all about it.
Hell yeah. So. Yeah, that's awesome, man. And like, I feel like Wind Waker really tied in with how goofy the GameCube was. Like, it was just, I feel like the system in general and what Nintendo was doing was just like, they were just like, all right, let's get weird. So like you had Mario Sunshine, which is Mario on a tropical vacation. It's like, nobody probably asked for that, but that's everything I wanted, and I just didn't know it. And I was just
with
like,
the water jetpack.
Yeah, dude. And Pikmin was like I remember that was a launch title for the game, or one of the launch titles for the GameCube. Yeah. New Nintendo IP. Did you ever play that? Or see it? It's kind of like,
I think I remember the character.
I think I don't know what it's classified as, a strategy game or like a real-time strategy game or something like that. It's not like Fire Emblem, but it's like it is a strategy game to a certain degree, but it's really fucking weird and cool. But I just remember thinking like, wow, Nintendo's just doing all this wacky ass shit. Like, we get a cartoon Zelda, we have Mario with like a water jetpack on a tropical vacation, you know, then we have Pikmin, which is, I don't even know how to describe the game clearly. But I just like, that was when I was like, all right, Nintendo's the shit. They're just doing a lot of weird shit that nobody else is doing, and I love it. Like,
one other thing that I'd like to add to Nintendo's credit is I feel like they are often more times adventurous with what they do with the technology behind their console than a lot of other. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like absolutely.
They were into cartridges for a while. They were kind of like the first, at least mainstream console to have the sort of like augmented reality kind of thing, like you get in the Wii and the Wii U and stuff like that. And then with what they did with the Switch, like at first I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, why would you not just always play it on your TV? And you know what? I have literally never docked my Switch and played on TV.
Really?
Yeah, I've done it with other people's, like when Andrew and Spencer and I would play that cooking game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the game is actually incredibly fun.
Is it really?
Super simple. Yeah, dude. We sunk so many hours into it. Andrew and Spencer actually like beat the entirety of it, and started going back and unlocking hidden levels and stuff. But we sunk a lot of time into that one. But yeah, my Switch personally, like, I mean, I only have a few titles for it. So I played Link's Awakening, beat that. I have Breath of the Wild. I have Pokemon Sword. I have Super Mario Odyssey. Have not played it much yet, which is a bummer because I've had it for a while.
Yeah.
I remember one night on tour I tried playing it after a show, but I was like, I'm drunk. I don't want to figure this out.
Yeah, that's a game that's hard to play when you're fucked up, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun. It is a lot of fun. That's actually what sold me on the Switch. Was I went over to a buddy of mine's house who was like my only friend that I knew that had a Switch at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, come over and like play this fucking game." Because I love those Mario style adventure games like 64, Sunshine, Galaxy. Like I love those games, and I was like, "Yeah, all right."
Did you ever play Super Mario RPG?
Hell yeah.
You played it?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn,
it's so good.
I never played it.
It's so much fun.
When did you find it?
When did I find Super Mario RPG? Or when did
No, I was asking. Yeah.
I remember I had a friend that I saw him because I never had Super Nintendo growing up. And I had a friend that did. And I remember when he got that game, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. It's like Final Fantasy, but Mario. It was the shit. Yeah. And then eventually I got older and emulators became a thing, and I was like, I need to fucking play that game. And I've beaten it like 3 or 4 times now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's so much fun.
I didn't know you played it like that.
Fun. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And it's not super long, which is nice. Like you can get through it pretty quick. But it's so much fun. It's such a great game. Yeah,
and didn't Square make that game or have an involvement in that game? Squaresoft?
Yes. It was back. Are they Square Enix now?
Yeah, now they're Square Enix.
Okay. Yeah, it was back when it was Squaresoft, and it was a partnership between Squaresoft and Nintendo. So they had all of these Nintendo characters, and there are even like cameos from other characters in it. Like, if you do a certain something in the Mushroom Kingdom, you can go to one of the upstairs bedrooms and find Samus in her armor and everything, like sleeping in one of the beds.
That's awesome.
You can find Link sleeping in another place in town. You can find there's a hidden boss in the game that's more difficult than the actual boss of the game. That is a boss from Final Fantasy.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn,
so
that's
lots
awesome.
of cool stuff.
I have I bought one of those mini Super Nintendos that they did where like you could plug it in with an HDMI and that's on it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Super Mario RPG is on
you should play it.
Yeah, I should play it.
Oh, it's a blast.
Yeah, I just have to beat 75 games first.
The dialogue is like super quippy. Like like most of the characters are like total smartasses and stuff like that.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, and honestly, Gino and Mallow are 2 of the characters that you get in the game that I am like just in awe of the fact that they never ended up in Smash Bros. They never ended up in Mario Kart. They never ended up in anything.
I never thought about that.
There's been petitions to put Gino in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
he'd be perfect for it.
The only thing they gave you is a fucking there's a skin so that your Mii fighter can wear it, but it's like cool. There's no special like
I don't want that shit. dude,
does not do it justice.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah. That is a bummer.
Meanwhile, there's 18 characters from Fire Emblem in the game.
Right.
Oh man, dude, I remember like when they did that last announcement for like the 5th fighter, and it was whatever character from the new Fire Emblem game. I was at work and we were live streaming like the Nintendo Directs where they were doing it, and like half the people in my office were like, "Wow!" They were all like, "Fuck this!" Like pissed off that like they literally have like
it's a shitload.
Like I want to say it's got to be 10 Fire Emblem characters,
That's
right?
absurd.
Yeah.
But I feel like it flew under the radar for a lot of people, and it was like a new Nintendo IP for the Switch, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
There's a really good Clueless Gamer of that game.
Oh, of ARMS?
Yeah.
Really? That Conan does?
Versus Will Arnett.
Shit.
Nah. What's going on?
Ooh, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
I can't see you.
Yeah, why can't we... Sorry, we lost you on our feed here.
Oh, no.
We'll get you.
I am the unseen.
There we go. All right. I think we're good. Yeah, all right, cool. Sweet.
Hey.
Back in business. But yeah, man, I'm glad that they're doing that. They haven't announced who from that game is going to be in Smash, but I'm glad somebody is.
Because that's been out for a while now. Like, how many characters have they added post-release?
In ARMS? Or in Smash Brothers?
Smash Brothers.
Is it 5 now, I think?
Dude, you know who's like insane at Smash Bros?
Who?
Jared from Archspire.
Is he really?
Yeah, dude, he's like ridiculous. I've seen him smash everyone. Like,
who is this? Who does he play as?
Off the top of my head, I cannot remember.
Yeah.
I just remember a whole lot of the wormhole guys getting destroyed by him, as well as the Volvadinia dudes. Like when we were in Europe, and and they would play. So I kind of got in a little bit, but I'm like very casual with it, and I feel like all of the other people on the tour package that we're playing were like very like, oh well, you know, if you do this combo, then like you can reduce the amount of time that you need for recovery and blah blah blah.
Oh,
and I was like, yeah. If we were talking about Pokemon breeding, maybe I'd get in with the intricacies, but you know, I am just like a casual fighting game person. So.
Have you been playing Sword and Shield?
Yeah, I was playing Sword. I bought the DLC for it, so waiting for that to drop.
When does that drop?
Actually, I want to say in June. I feel like June 20th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I paid for the expansion pass already. I haven't touched the game in about like probably since I just moved to Dallas. I haven't really played much video games since I've been out here.
Mm-hmm.
But right during the last tour that we did with Shadow of Intent, I completed my Pokedex in it. So I have every Pokemon that's available in the game. I started doing some stuff for breeding to like put together a team that was pretty cool. But then post tour, got back to working like regular job and working on material for stuff. And I was getting ready to move from Colorado over here to Dallas. So that I didn't really have like a bunch of spare time. And since I've been here, it's same thing. It was like, get to Dallas, get established, knock out the Ashen Horde album. So I've just been super busy with that. And then now working on new Inferi stuff, and the free time that I have had recently, I've just kind of been devoting to Cardboard Crack, aka Magic the Gathering. So
yeah, sick. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, my girlfriend.
I know you guys dig that game.
Yeah, she also plays. So we've been like playing Paper Magic with webcams and stuff like that with like Nate from Archaic and Andrew from Fallujah, and a few other cool cats. The drummer from Aetherius, Matt, we've been playing with him too.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Damn, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I never got into Magic, but I always thought it was cool from afar. Like, I
honestly, I feel like it's. I feel like you got the kind of brain. I feel like you could brew up some really cool decks if you got it. Yeah, you.
I don't know, man.
Dude,
I could barely get out of bed in the morning, dude. How the fuck am I gonna make a fucking Magic deck?
You want to know what's sick about Magic, dude? Is if you have your cards stored on your bedside table, you don't even need to get out of bed, bro.
Oh shit!
You can just wake up at like early PM, Tiggo Nitties rises.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Grabs cards from bedside counter, sorts through, builds killer deck, smashes everybody.
Dude, are you for real? I could do that? You're not playing around?
You could do that. That could be your life, dude.
Damn, man. I don't know if I have the... I have to do some real contemplation on that, but you make a good argument.
One thing that I will tell you is that it's just beware. Magic will come for your wallet, bro.
Yeah, I know. And that's the last thing I fucking need right now. But, I mean, I always thought it was... And it's been around forever. I mean,
Yeah, it's like 25-ish years old.
Yeah, that's almost as old as me.
Yeah.
It's up
God,
there.
you're fucking ancient. You're like 25, bro?
I'm 28. How old are you, man?
Old enough, dude.
Yeah. What are you, 19? What are you, fucking 7?
Yeah, I'll be legal to drink next year, so I'm excited about that.
That's cool. Hell yeah.
I know. I'll be 31 in August.
Oh, sick. Okay, you're not that old.
Yeah.
How old are you?
You guys are goddamn children.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 35. I'm going to be 36 this year.
Damn, are you excited?
Not at all.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for you. I think it'll be sick.
Why aren't you excited, dude?
I got my one gray. Doing good.
You have one gray hair?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
Dude, I got a bunch of gray hairs in my beard. I find them and I get excited.
Do you really?
Yeah, sometimes they'll pop up and I'm like, oh my God.
No shit.
Yeah, I hope it turns all gray tomorrow.
I wouldn't mind if this turned gray.
You have this fantasy of being like Father Time, just having super long gray beard.
Yeah, and white hair. Yeah. That would be so sick, dude. I'm waiting for it to happen, man.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, seeing you behind the kit with just white, long white hair, long white beard would be fucking sick.
I know, dude. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I should just
who's the drummer
get
that looked
scared
like a
enough
wizard?
to do that.
Remember, I think you played with him at Reggie's. The dude was a sick ass drummer, and he looked like a wizard because he had the beard, the hair, everything. He just had the look to him.
Oh man, I
remember telling you, I was like, that dude looks like a wizard, and he was one of the sickest drummers ever, and I can't remember.
And we played with them at Reggie's?
I think so, because I think I was in the crow's nest watching.
I don't remember.
Roman Ring played with him, or was it Warforged?
I don't know. Could have been either or.
It could have been
we
either
both
or.
played a lot of shows at Reggie's.
And I used to drive them all the time to shows.
When we didn't have a van, Bill had a van that we'd be like, hey,
Bill, can we use
your van?
Yeah.
We'll put you on the guest list and give you a drink ticket.
Yeah.
That is 100% accurate.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, you get the Reggie's meal ticket.
That was dope.
Get that hook up. We could still make it happen.
Reggie's is sick.
But
when shows start back up.
Yeah, exactly. Shit, man.
Reggie's hella sick.
You're working on the new Ashen Horde album.
That's I'm done with that. I finished that. I started it when I got here, so from start to finish it took me about a month.
Okay.
But I have a very different process for writing for that band than I do anything else, because it's definitely got more of a raw kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I will listen to the song, Trevor will send me the songs and I'll just listen to them once, the whole album. And then after that, I won't really listen to them until I start my session.
Okay.
And I'll drop them into the session, and then the whole session is usually Trevor will send me kind of ideas of lyrics and stuff like that. Sometimes they're more detailed, sometimes they're more loose. And then my entire session is me listening to the song a couple times, figuring out vocal patterns, recording everything all in one go, and then calling it done.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
It's just to try to keep the sort of raw atmosphere kind of there.
Definitely.
So I typically do that one very, very differently than the rest of the bands that I'm in. But it's a very fun, creative challenge.
That's really cool. And you're working on new Inferi too?
Yes.
Hell yeah,
man. Working on that. I actually just sent the dudes a snippet of a thing that I had tracked for some vocal ideas for one of the songs.
Uh-huh.
And it's one of those things where I feel like whenever I post anything in our group chat, immediately someone sees it and is like, oh, hey, I'll just post some stupid fucking joke or a meme or something, and everybody's all over it. But then the one time I'm like, hey, here's this thing that I contributed, and it's the first thing that I've actually written for the band. And I didn't hear anything from anyone. And then so the anxiety starts building because like I saw that like Andrew saw it, and then like a couple minutes later I saw that Malcolm saw it, and I was like, oh my God, they hate it, and they're putting together a big list of shit that I need to change.
Yeah.
And being like, oh man, how are we gonna kick Stevie out of the band because this is awful. That's just immediately where my brain goes if I don't have like some kind of like, hey, blah blah blah. But then it turned out, yeah, or just acknowledging like, cool, we're listening to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And luckily everything went over very smoothly, so I was like, oh,
sweet, man. So are you writing lyrics for the new stuff?
Yeah,
that's cool. Because I know, didn't Malcolm do it previously? Or at least on the last couple records?
Malcolm has always had a pretty heavy hand in the lyrics and vocal patterns for Inferi stuff.
Okay.
The first 3 records, Divinity and War, the original version of The End of an Era, and then The Path of Apotheosis, was a lot of Malcolm and Josh writing stuff together. A lot of it was Malcolm.
Those records, right? The dude that was singing on those records?
Josh.
Okay.
Yep, Josh was the vocalist for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did a lot of collaborative work with stuff like that. And then when Sam joined the band, Revenant is a very similar fashion where there are chunks of things that are things that Sam wrote. Okay. There are chunks of things that are things that Malcolm wrote, but Malcolm was the one that came up with the idea of the continuation, because Revenant is lyrically a continuation of the end of an era rebirth. So the second half of the album is like kind of a concept in itself. So starting with the Warriors Infinite Opus, moving into Quest for the Trinity, into Forge of the Phlegathon, and then Cursed Unholy is the genesis of the story. It kind of like introduces the character, and then Revenant is the continuation of that character's story as he descends through the 9 circles of hell to go toe to toe with old, Beelzebub.
I hear you. That guy?
Yeah, that guy.
I know that guy. I've heard of that guy.
Sometimes he appears on my left shoulder, He usually gives pretty good advice, too.
That's cool.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know. I like listening to, have you ever, like, gotten high and or drunk and listened to, like, Glenn Benton from Deicide call into, like, Christian radio stations from the 80s and 90s and, like, fuck with people?
But that sounds hilarious.
It's sick, dude. And it's sick after you get like really high too. It's just like, whoa, I can't believe this is like a real dude doing this.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's very funny.
I need to fucking look into that. That sounds like a hysterical time. I've been completely sober the entire time I've been out here. Well, I've gotten drunk like twice.
Nice. Is that a conscious choice?
No. I lived in Colorado. I grew up in Colorado, so I was just used to like, hey, there's weed everywhere.
Yep.
And dispensaries and all this jazz. And like when I moved out here originally, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have to like re-drug test for transferring for work or anything like that. So, better safe than sorry. And then I got out here. One of my coworkers was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like a bunch of people that I work with are like, dude, you're from Colorado. You probably blaze hella weed. And I'm like, actually. I was like, actually, just kind of like, every once in a while, like but one of the chicks that I work with was like, oh, I can totally get you some, blah, blah, blah. And then literally the next day was when all of the COVID stuff super exploded. She's like, oh yeah, my like not hearing anything from my guy. And then everything got locked down here. So the place that I work, everything got closed other than non-essential businesses.
Okay.
And the company that I work for actually gave me a slip of paper that I have to keep in my car. So if I get pulled over, I can be like, yeah, I'm on my way to work. Don't give me a ticket.
Oh, wow.
Whoo, really?
Being out and about. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that was a big thing. And currently, in Dallas County, at least, if you are out and you don't have your mouth your mouth and nose covered, whether it's with some kind of like fixture thing or a mask or whatever, you can actually get a ticket for like up to like $1,200 or something like that.
Whoa,
so
there goes that stimulus check.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nuts, man. They still haven't done. They're not cracking down like that in Chicago, and I'm surprised they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. What's funny?
Populated city.
Yeah, it's a hugely
they've done it in
populated
some
city.
small towns in Illinois.
Finding people for like not wearing masks.
Like making it mandatory that if you're going to go out, you have to wear a mask.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they still haven't done. I've been wearing masks whenever I go out, pretty much, just so I don't get scolded for not wearing one. Honestly,
Yeah.
And it's probably safer than not, I guess. But I don't. I heard there. So Chicago was setting up police checkpoints for like cops to be handing out like COVID-19 pamphlets to people that were like going through the checkpoints while they were driving, and like remind them to stay at home and give them the rundown on what like the order entails. But then the health division was just like, like you guys are going to be risking more people getting sick.
Right.
And you guys are going to get sick if you, and they're just like, So like,
all it takes is one of those cops to get sick and have those pamphlets, and then bam, like literally hundreds of other people are getting sick.
It's just like two cops, two Chicago cops, 3 are dead now.
The third one passed away.
Yeah. So.
Oh damn.
Yeah, man, it's coming for everybody, but yeah, it's
indiscriminately.
Yeah, for real. But I don't know, man. I mean, I've been smoking a lot of weed, but I've been working from home and shit, so that's been cool. So at least that way, Adam. But yeah, I don't know anybody that, at least the people I know that have had to go for work, they don't have any like tickets or anything to say like to give to a cop and be like, hey, I'm good to go. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I have one in my car. Working in public right now sucks.
Yeah, I'm sure it sucks shit, dude.
So almost 10 years ago, it'll be 10 years in August, I guess. I had a couple of different surgeries on my lungs a while back. Because I developed this like weird strain of pneumonia that makes these things grow inside of your lungs, and then they burst, and it slowly fills your lungs up with like pus and stuff like that. So I I had to have surgeries, a couple surgeries on my lungs, and
wow.
So like ever since that, I've kind of been like prone to, and I mean like any of the dudes that I'm in Inferi with will be able to tell you, I've been kind of prone to like respiratory infections and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, like before. Oh man, what was it? I'm trying to remember like which tour, because I was out for like a while last year. I think it was before we went to Europe, actually. Yeah, because I was like super sketched out. I got a respiratory infection, and I had it for like 6 weeks.
Whoa.
I got put on like 3 different types of antibiotics, and it was just kind of a persisting thing. It's just sort of a thing that I get. And so the company that I work for, I like had submitted for like a paid medical leave. Because they had like an amount of people that they would consider at risk or have complications that they would consider at risk for COVID-19.
Sure.
So I applied for that, and then they took a week or so to try to process it. And then we're pretty much just like, yeah, because what you have isn't a chronic condition, like you still have to come into work. We're not going to let you do that. So every day here, it's kind of been, especially like with, it's been raining a lot, and a new place. So my body's like trying to adjust to the allergies. And so like, I feel like every couple days I play this game at work where like I breathe and something weird happens, and I'm like, all right, did I inhale something in the back room by accident? Or is this allergies, or is it COVID? Like,
oh shit,
cool.
Man.
God damn, that's scary as fuck, man.
Yeah, it's a weird time to be alive.
Yeah, definitely. Well, man, I mean, if the worst happens, we'll just blame who you work for. They'll be the ones to blame.
Be like, dude, I try to tell you guys.
Yeah.
I have a digital trail of me being like, hey, this isn't a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, at least you tried. Hopefully things will get better, ? With the world. But I think that's what everybody's been saying, for the last month.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen overnight,
Yeah.
It's going to take time.
The thing that really bums me out is just thinking about how long it's going to be realistically until any of us are able to play shows again.
Oh, I know, man.
I know.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
I've been seeing articles, and Defonce shared this thing on Twitter the other day that was about how like healthcare experts believe that like reasonably it might not be until like summer to fall of 2021 that is like really a thing that gets back into bloom. And that's kind of like crushing a lot of different industries right now, you know, like lots and lots of people are losing out on things. And this audio warehouse that I worked for back home in Denver that dealt with like all kinds of sending stuff out to tour packages, doing tons of shows at Red Rocks. Mm-hmm. I know companies like that are having a really tough time. Mm-hmm. Like small mom and pop shops, video game places that are like essentially in most places, like anything that's not deemed an essential business
is fucked.
Is like really hurting right. Yeah. Theaters, venues, stuff like that, like bars.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's rough for sure, man. It's very fucked, and it's wild because like I've been paying attention to like there's certain bands that have been like that have records that were supposed to come out or are ready to go, and some of them are like fuck it, we're gonna risk it and put it out. Some of them are like fuck it, we're just gonna delay it until this all blows over, and it's just like, man, it sucks.
I saw that.
What were we gonna say?
I saw that like Lady Gaga, or I feel like it was Lady Gaga, was like delayed the release of her album, and it was one of those things where when I saw it, I was just like, dude, you're okay.
You
could do no promotion and drop an album out of anywhere and have you'll still get millions. Yeah. What are you worried that you're gonna be number 5 on the Billboard instead of number 1? Oh, so sad.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like, I mean, I guess I don't know any statistics, and I did see an article on Lamb Goat today that apparently August Burns Red, they decided to drop their record like last week, and apparently the sales really did suffer from it. You know,
well, I mean, they also have a much smaller audience than like Lady Gaga.
Absolutely, obviously.
I used her as the example because like she literally has like hundreds of millions of people that
fans and
are
followers.
paying attention to her.
Yeah. I'm
you know,
the ethical debate I get confused about is just like, you know, now that everybody's home and everybody is radically consuming media, whether it's Netflix, music, Hulu, whatever the fuck, video games, you know, I feel like people are craving that, you know, there's going to be a high demand for that type of content, you know, whether it's music or shows or movies or something like that, because with everybody's downtime, you figure that's what it would be. And I would think if there's a trend where artists are like, we're going to push back our records until there could be more of a concrete, you know, tour cycle or sales, it will, I guess, have a chance to increase. But I would think that, you know, if nobody's buying records and you drop a record, you know, like if you're the one metal band out of every metal band that decides to put out a record, wouldn't everybody freak out and be like, oh, here's a new metal thing we could listen to? And, you know, because nobody else is putting it out. Right. But I don't know. I really have no idea.
Well, see, I think the thing that really comes into play there is it depends on the financial well-being of the individual, like of the consumer. Right. Because at that point, it's a thing where it's like, you know, a lot of people are out of work right now, and so they're more apt to be like, well, you know, usually I'm a person that buys physical CDs or buys vinyl or, you know, pre-orders bundles and stuff like that. But right now, like you know, person in this situation is like, well, right now I'm not working, so they did put this thing out. I'm just going to listen to it on Spotify. Yeah, which is, you know, the result of that is like a very, that has a very like a tangibly different experience for the band. Just getting a few thousand extra streams versus a couple hundred additional sales or a few thousand additional sales or something like that.
Yeah, so exactly.
I can wrap my head around it, but it's one of those things that, it's like, it's weird to navigate because some bands like Aborted, for example, they went through and dropped their EP, which is super sick. Yeah. I was on kind of like a metal hiatus. Like I feel like maybe it was just from as much touring as I did last year. Yep. It's just kind of like, I think overall with everything between shows with Tethys and then all of the Inferi tours and going out with Equipoise and stuff, it's probably like 5 months worth of dates and stuff.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's almost half a year of hearing metal bands every single night. You know?
Yeah. So I took a break, and then my buddy Harrison is in Aborted, And I was like, oh, dude, this is the first thing that he's done with them that he's on. I really want to check it out.
Okay, that was that dude from Dissonance and Design, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. And he was in Veil of Noth also.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever met the dude, but I think Warforged played with Veil while he was in the band. I'm pretty sure. At some point.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think that. I don't know. Did you guys? Was it a Reggie's thing?
No, it wasn't a Reggie's.
It was play with you.
It was
in Colorado.
No, we played with them. They were on this tour with that band Aether, and we played with them in this weird suburb of Illinois, Elgin. Remember that show? Pillar in the middle of the stage show. Yeah. Bill drove us to that show, and it was actually Max's first show with Warforged, and we played with them. I believe Harrison was the second guitar player on that tour.
Okay.
Alan was still in the band on bass, and they had Lindsay filling in on vocals at the time being.
When that tour happened, someone hit me up on Facebook and was like, "Hey, is your sister doing vocals for Veil of Noth right now?"
Wow, damn!
Just like, yo, not every black person in metal is related.
It's related to you.
I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, since then, like we know each other, and I know her boyfriend Brian.
He's in Cephalic Carnage, right?
Her and I,
He's in Cephalic Carnage, right? That dude, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Brian Hopp. Yeah. But since then, Lindsay and I have had this running joke where, like, whenever we see each other, she'll be like, "So how's mom? Cool. I haven't seen her in a while." Like, you know.
That's so funny, man. Yeah, that's great. So Harrison he's in Aborted. I saw Aborted while he was in the band because he replaced Mendel, right? Or Mendel. I don't know how to.
Yeah,
if I'm saying it right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the pronunciation on that is either. But yeah, he replaced their previous shredder.
Damn, that's crazy. I wonder how he ended up in that band, or ended up in Aborted after all that shit went down.
I have no idea. I'm super happy for him, though. He is a spectacular guitar player.
Yeah, he is. I like Dissonance and Design. I think they're a cool band. I got to check out those new Aborted songs. I love Aborted.
Dissonance released some new stuff this year also. Cool. Another thing that I've been jamming recently. It's all instrumental stuff. Oh, cool. It's pretty sick. And then he released an EP. And then he released another song because it's just Harrison right now doing everything.
Okay.
For Dissonance, but he released another song that's like him, and then Andrew Kim played bass for it.
Oh.
Like a week or so ago. It's pretty sick.
That's awesome. I'll have to check it out. Shit, man, I gotta check out that new Aborted. I can't believe I haven't yet. You know what?
Yeah. What have you been jamming lately?
Oh man, I've been obsessed with all of the new shit the Acacia Strain has been dropping. They're like one of my favorite metal bands, and I know they're a giant no-go in the tech death community, but because they're like the antithesis of that. But
I actually don't think I've ever listened to them.
Dude, I don't know if you would, but the new shit is definitely a lot different than anything they've been doing before, and it's definitely a lot more metal. In my opinion, like more along that side as opposed to like, metalcore or whatever you would call their older stuff. I mean, I think it's just a result of having a shitload of people in and out of that band, but.
Yeah, wasn't there. So I used to be in this band called Enemy Rain, and our drummer and our guitar player were both like super big into the Acacia Strain.
Yep.
So I maybe have like heard a couple of their songs like passively. But weren't they kind of like I don't know if metalcore is the right word, but like they definitely blended like heavier metal and then like aspects of hardcore. Like they had like breakdowns and like really heavy riffs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. It was almost like I don't know. They've had all kinds of weird trajectory. I would definitely call their like old stuff like metalcore.
Yeah, I mean, the old stuff was breakdowns, low tune guitars, and 2-step parts.
Yeah, so and like their first
it's vastly different now.
Oh yeah, their first couple records were produced by Adam D from Killswitch, and
oh cool.
Yeah, then they started doing more of the Meshuggah type shit when DL they started doing 8 strings and stuff and
expanding.
Yeah, and now it's like this weird fusion of like doom metal almost mixed with like some hardcore elements and shit.
Yeah, they still
it's really
have
cool.
That. And like it's like doom and groove kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the shit. I've been obsessed with. That's like as far as metal goes, that's probably what I've been listening to the most recently. I checked out that band Myth of I the other day. I listened to their album that just came out on Artisan. That thing is pretty cool. Those guys are good. Are good musicians.
They're pretty wicked. I actually got to see them. Oh man, I'm pretty sure it was Archspire was headlining. So I think it was on Tech Trek, the US Tech Trek, and they were killer. Like
that's awesome.
Totally slayed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they've toured yet.
I don't think so. No,
yeah,
I think they. So either. I think they just kind of gig around their area.
Okay.
They live out on the East Coast. Trying to remember which state, but it's not coming to mind.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else I've been. I don't know. A lot of hip hop shit like before. That I was listening to a lot of R&B stuff like before. A lot of pop music like before.
Did you listen to that new Childish Gambino that came out? I want to say it's probably 3 weeks ago now.
No, not yet, but that's on my list to check out. I actually just watched his show Atlanta on Hulu. I watched the first 2 seasons of that. Dude,
Atlanta's great.
It's awesome. It's crazy good. And he like writes and directs the show too and stars in it. Like that dude is like I never really listened to much of his, like I liked Redbone and I liked a few other songs. I never really got too big into his music, but the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, all right, I really like this. And then I watched that show and I was like, all right, I'm sold. Like,
Dude, Camp, his album Camp is super sick. The EP that he originally put out too is awesome. Like if you're looking for something kind of cool of his to check out, like personally that I would recommend, there's this song called All the Shine that is like super, super killer.
Cool.
And it's got more of like the kind of like singing sort of vibes. And
all right, yeah, I love that shit.
Dude, it's great. It's actually a song that I really enjoy kind of warming up to, which
sweet.
Yeah, which is it's fun. And then as far as more of like the hip hop side of things go, he has this song called Freaks and Geeks that is like super killer also.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, I gotta check it out. And I've heard good things about that new release, so I'm gonna have to get on that. But yeah, man, I mean, I've honestly been trying to like recently, as of last week, I've been trying to challenge myself to really go back and like listen to the metal bands that I really, really liked, to see if I still really like them, and then also try to go to like their newer releases and catch up on that. Like I used to be a big fan of that band Enslaved. They're like a progressive, I don't know what, European band. I don't know what.
Yeah, they got like kind of like a Blackened vibe to them.
Yeah, it sounds like a black metal band wrote songs with a guitar player from Pink Floyd. And
dude, that's like a pretty great description.
Yeah, and they're awesome, dude. I used to really like them. So I listened to one of their and they're one of those bands that has like over 10 records.
Yeah,
so
they've been around for a while.
Yeah, they have a really big discography. So I went to my favorite record, smoked a little bit, listened to it, and I was like, all right, this still is the shit. And then like I went and I listened to their newest record and I was like, oh, you know what? This is like really good too.
Still holds up.
Yeah, and it's just so funny to me that like I used to be so on the forefront of a lot of metal shit. I used to always be on top of new releases and stuff, and now it's just like I feel like I'm constantly playing catch up all the time now. But
same.
You know, it's almost like more fun that way, and I find it like more enjoyable to like listen to metal in that
you're not
lens.
stressing yourself out trying to like find the next big thing.
Exactly. You know, and like I mean I see now, I mean obviously there's a giant abundance of metal bands almost everywhere you look. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I mean, look at our label and how big that's grown. Like, shit, now, like, I can't even keep track of how many releases are, like, on that thing. And I used to listen to every single one, and, like, now I'm behind. I still haven't heard the new Symbolic record all the way yet. I've just heard, like, the first half of it. Yeah.
It's killer. I listened to it. I've listened to it a couple days before work, like the days that I don't have to work in the morning. I'll usually just kind of like lay in bed for a little while after I first wake up. And one thing that I've been trying to do the last couple weeks is if I am going to be a piece of shit and lay in bed for a couple hours after I wake up, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to put on like something that I haven't listened to yet or something that's still fresh. So I still have something to go through and like digest while I'm listening to it. And Alan and the dudes killed it, man. Like that record's really fun.
Yeah, the riffs are crazy, and Alan is such a fucking good guitar player, dude. Holy shit. When we did that tour with Alter Beast last October, like that was one of the only bands that we've toured with so far where I tried to watch their set every single night because him and Andrew are such good guitar players. It was just like it's insane, dude. I'm
gonna write that little note here. Jason said, I'm never going to fucking watch Inferi because those dudes are terrible. And I hate them except for Spencer. Got it. Cool. Sick.
I do love Spencer.
Dude, Alter Beast is super sick. Like the first tour I ever did with Inferi was with them. And at the time, the lineup was they had Alan, they had Nate. They did not have a bass player. Michael Alvarez was doing vocals, and then Andrew Lamb. And like
that was a tour with Grindmother, right?
Yes. Yeah. I was blown away with how tight Alter Beast was every single night. It was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, dude, they rip. Me and Adrian drove out to that show, and Nate came to that show. It was at a Penny Road pub in Barrington.
That classic venue.
Oh, shit venue, shit town.
Yeah.
But I
remember Nick heckled me during our set, and I had everyone boo him.
Yeah,
he asked me what the Yeah, he asked me what the set was beforehand, and usually I don't tell people what our set is, just because I want them to like pay attention and to like I don't want them to form any kind of bias or preconceived notion based off of they're not playing my favorite song or whatever. So, but I told him what our set was. And between songs, he was purposefully yelling out the names of songs that we weren't gonna play.
Oh, wow!
And then after like the second or third time he did it, I kind of stopped and was like, "All right, Nick, everybody, boo this kid!
Yeah,
like, are you kidding me right now?" And like, yeah, like pretty much everybody did it. It was great,
dude. Yeah, I wish, dude. At that time when we were at that show, I had no clue who Nick was. I had no idea who he was yet. And it's so funny to me because he was like, yeah, I was at that show in like Barrington. And I was like, what? Really? Like one time we talked, I think he mentioned that. And I think he was at, no, you know what? The first time I met him, I didn't know who he was. And it was at a Warforged show at Reggie's. And we opened it was that tour with Cryptopsy, Zenith Passage, and Kennedy Vale. It was like a branch off of that Devastation tour. That was when Malcolm was on the road with the Zenith Passage, and he was supposed to be playing guitar for them. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, he was supposed to play, but then he was just doing merch because the Faceless dropped off that Australian tour they were supposed to do.
Yeah, because Justin was going to bounce from the Zenith Passage and do that, right? And then Malcolm was going to take his place. Yeah,
dude, I felt so bad because I mean, like, it was cool seeing Zenith Passage, but I was just like, oh man, Malcolm spent all that time learning those songs, and now he's just like doing merch. It was like,
yeah, man. I think that was what sold him on Warforged was that show because he saw us play there, so that might
no choice but to listen to it.
Sick.
That might have been it. Yeah. So, but I remember I met Nick casually at that show. He was just like, yo. And I was like, oh. So he was like, yeah, 6 set, man. I was like, oh, thanks, dude. I had no clue who he fucking was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Dude, speaking of Warforged.
Hey. Yeah. You should pee on that shit after this episode, dude.
I have 2 of these. So maybe I will pee on this one.
You should. That's cool.
The other one
How'd you get 2 of them?
I bought 2 of them. Remember, that show I came to watch you guys at Trailside, and I was on mushrooms, and then I bought way too much merch.
I remember that you bought a lot of merch at our show.
Yeah, I was like, I need 2 albums and 2 shirts and an LP and a flag and some stickers and like, yeah.
Sweet. Well, thanks, man. I mean, I'm glad you got 2 of them.
I was in a very good mood, and you guys killed it, and you guys are my boys. And I was like, I already have like a copy of the record, but I want one to send to my girlfriend so that she can enjoy it too. And yeah,
man, you guys are like the real deal, man. You and Whitney are like the tech death power couple, dude. Do you ever think that? You guys are like,
I mean,
you guys are like Jay-Z and Beyonce of tech death.
I don't know, man. I think that Malcolm and Kayla or Mike and Emily maybe might have that a little more solidified, but
yeah,
you know, we're cute as fuck, and you know, we're out here doing things. So
yeah, so you guys are living together now, right? Now that you're in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's actually why I moved out here. We did the long distance thing for a while, and I pretty much started spending, especially with like how much I was on the road last year. Like between every tour, I would come down here and hang out with her, or she would come up there, and it's like, you know, when we see each other, we are together all day, every day for like a week or so at a time, because it'd be between tours. So I would come down here and she would take time off of work and stuff. And it's like, we know that we gel really well together. We know that we have a very similar vibe with how we like to keep things like in house and like our cleanliness levels and all that jazz. So, our relationship was going fantastic. So we had the opportunity to make it happen, and, it's been fucking awesome.
That's awesome to hear, man. Like, I can't imagine how hard the distance thing has to be, but like, you guys seem to have such a level head with each other and just as individual people that, you know, that's awesome. You guys were even able to make it work where you guys could hang out in between those tours. But, you know, now that you're there, I'm sure it's like even cooler. You know what I mean?
Way better. Like, I consider myself very, very fortunate, incredibly fortunate to have met her at the time that I did.
Hell yeah.
And the way that I did and everything, it was total chance. Like, so when we did Tech Trek, DeFonts, was going to come hang out with us in Dallas. He had a VIP table at Gas Monkey, and, he was in Austin and wasn't going to make it to the show in time. So he gave his like VIP table to a friend. It was my homie Andrew Patterson.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah. Cool guy.
He does vocals in a band?
Yeah, he was in this band called Luniform. Now he's in this band called And Hell Followed With. They're pretty sick.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so he the day of that show, like Andrew was going, the day of that show, Whitney had found Dissonance in Design and posted them on Facebook. Like, just posted one of the songs from our album on Facebook. And Andrew was like, oh, hey, like they were friends, and was like, oh, hey, their vocalist is actually in this band called Inferi now, and they're playing in town tonight. I've got a couple extra seats at this table if you want to roll through and like come watch them play if you're not doing anything. And so she ended up just like being like, well, you know, not doing anything else tonight. So yeah, sure. I'll go check out the show. And she came and hung out at the merch table for a while afterwards. And her and I kind of just like started chatting. And I kept making up excuses to keep talking to her about things between people buying stuff. And
hell yeah.
Her and I kept in touch after that. And I think the next month after that tour was over, I had like come down here for the first time to like hang out and like get to know her a little better and stuff. So
that's awesome, dude. Look at that shit, man. And I'm I just get high after every show we play, and then my band gets mad at me because I don't move enough gear. That's pretty much my experience. But, you know, maybe one day I will find true love that way. You never know. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, what are the chances of that shit happening? You know, it's just like, that's such a funny turn of events. I mean, it's awesome, you know?
Yeah, no, it's super awesome, but very, very like, I never in a million years would have guessed that. Yeah, that was the place that or the time that I would have met someone like her. That
dude, I remember when you guys came up to Reggie's for that Tech Trek, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm talking to this lady," and I was like, "Ooh, look at you."
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
and
man.
And then she was in Chicago on the last tour that we did. She flew out to Chicago to like come hang out.
Yeah, I remember giving her directions of the CTA on how to get to her hotel, man. The red line.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Of course, man. Dude, yeah. I'm glad you guys got to play here before all the shit went down. That was one of the, not the last, but one of the last shows I went to before the collapse of the world.
Yeah. The last show that I went to was when I think I'd been here for like 4 or 5 days, and Gorod was playing, and so I went to go see Gorod and Veil of Death.
Roman Ring played that show when it came to Chicago. We played that.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it was awesome. Dude. Got to see Reese from Veil again, which was awesome.
Reese
Vance
is the boy.
And shit. Yeah, dude. They were killer too. Gorod was great. Yeah. Awesome dudes. Yeah, that was a really cool, that was a really fun show. And I remember I caught them, and it was literally the day before the tour got canceled. It was that Origin Beneath the Massacre tour and Defeated Sanity. Mm-hmm. They played in this suburb out of Chicago, and like that's when like COVID was really. It was just kind of like, oh shit, it's gonna hit the fan, and we were all kind of like, well, this might be the last show we'll see for a while, so let's go catch Beneath the Massacre. Yeah, and it was an awesome show, and you guys toured with Beneath the Massacre in Europe.
Yeah, dude, holy shit, Europe was awesome.
Yeah,
and Beneath the Massacre is. They were ridiculous.
Were they?
Patrice is like, he's such a crazy drummer.
Yeah,
and
dude.
Very, very interesting fellow. He really, really likes to drink.
Yeah.
Saw way more of him naked than I ever thought I would see or cared to see.
Well, hey, man, sometimes you have that privilege to do that. And
yeah,
I mean, if I was on tour with that dude, I'd be like, hey, you know what? Do what you got to do because I love your band. And that dude specifically is such a sick drummer. I remember when he was in that band Martyr, that tech death band.
Oh, dude, yes. Martyr is so sick.
Exactly. And it's just like, okay, well, you were on those records, so you should just have like a permit to walk around naked wherever you want, dude.
First time I ever saw Patrice play was a tour that Gorguts did after Colored Sands came out.
Yes, same. That was the first time I saw him too, live.
Oh, so sick.
Exactly. Incredible drummer. And I love Beneath Massacre has been one of my favorite metal bands ever since I was like in high school, so... Mm-hmm. Now the fact that I personally think that new record is their best and they dropped it and it was just like, that's probably the biggest metal thing I've been into recently is just that new record because it's just like everything I want. It's just the most aggressive ass beating record, that I can think of when it comes to my mind. I'm like, all right, that's it. If I want to feel
it goes by so quickly. I feel like every time I listen to it, I pick up on like new things.
Yeah, same. It's just like, whoa, that millisecond of a riff was awesome. Yeah, it's sick though. I'm so glad that band came back, dude. I'm so glad. Like, I know Elliot did guest vocals on that latest Devin Townsend project, Empath. Like he did some vocals, and I remember I was like, "Oh shit, he's on this!" So like I went out and I bought it, and the couple parts he's on, I was just like, "Oh yeah." But then I was just like, "Man, I wish Beneath the Massacre would do something." But yeah,
lo and behold, they did.
Dude, when we were on tour in Canada, I remember Sam Santiago was supposed to be doing some drum stuff with them. He was going to be tentatively touring with them. And he was like,
he was going to do that tour. He was going to do the European tour.
Yeah. And he snuck us a peek of that song Autonomous Mind. And he like showed it to us in the parking lot when we played Montauk, I think it was. You remember we played in that basement of that venue?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I was hanging out in the parking lot with him and he's like, you want to hear this? And I was like, yeah. And then I was just like, okay, well, why even bother trying to play metal now?
Just hang it up.
Yeah.
They've done it.
Dude, it's kind of funny. So like we did 2 tours back to back with bands that Anthony Barone is in and no Anthony Barone. Like, we did Beneath the Massacre in Europe. And Patrice was filling in. Patrice did a phenomenal job. And then we did that Shadow of Intent tour, which their new record is ridiculous.
Okay,
also,
and Anthony's on that?
Yeah, Anthony played drums for that, but Bryce Butler did the tour.
Okay, so. See, I thought Bryce did the record. I didn't know Anthony did the record, but
yeah, Anthony Barone did the record. Yeah,
you know what? I still got to listen to that Shadow of Intent album. I haven't heard it, and I know everybody fucking loves it.
Yeah, it is sick. It's really sick.
Yeah.
Like I especially for me, I like the first half of it has like all of my favorite songs. Really, like the second song on the record is probably my favorite track off the entire album. But tracks 1, 2, 3, and 5, I think are like the ones that stand out the most in my opinion. Yeah. The whole album's good, but I think those are the ones that like just left the biggest impact.
Yeah, I'll give it a listen, man. I'm trying to get that spark back up with metal again, so I could really like feel it the way I used to feel it a lot. And yeah, I think listening to shit like that and just being like, okay, a lot of people like this, I should hear it front to back at least. You know what I mean? It's like I can listen to you know, I could listen to the same rappers I want any day of the week. So, you know, give something new a little bit of a chance.
I don't know if you've listened to the new Wormhole record, but that was another one.
Yes, I did hear that, and that record is fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, Matt is such a killer drummer. Like,
yeah, dude.
Oh, so sick. I remember we went on tour with those dudes, and after hearing him play their old songs, I can't really listen to Genesis a whole lot anymore, like their first album, because like the parts that he played live were so much sicker than the program stuff for the album, like for the first one. But their newest record, The Weakest Among Us, it's awesome.
It's so sick, dude. Yeah, I remember the reason I really listened to it was because we toured with when we toured on that Alter Beast run, Sunil was playing guitar for Cognitive, and he's just a super sick dude. So like,
shout out to Sunil, dude. He's the man.
Yeah, I just like we were talking about Disgorge one night, and I was like, all right, this guy gets it. Like, he knows what's up. So like, that's kind of what pushed me, because I don't even know if I've heard that first record, Genesis, front to back. But when I first heard that first single drop for The Weakest Among Us, I was just like, okay, this is like the shit. You know, it's so sick. Yeah. And I love, like, that's like my favorite kind of death metal is like the slammy-ish kind of stuff, like more of the Disgorge realm. So I'm a really big fan of that stuff. So it was cool to hear that.
I feel they were kind of like my first. I've kind of like flirted with slam a little bit, but like I feel like they kind of ruined the genre for me, because I like and I mean, like, in a good way, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I feel like, because they have just really nasty, dirty slams, and then they have really sick riffs and just absolutely bizarre but very tasteful solos. And so, you know, now when I try to like listen to a lot of other slam stuff, it usually fills the void of like the dirty, filthy slam things. But then I'm like, all right, where's the riff?
Yeah,
show me. Get it. You know, where those riffs at, boys? Like, and not to say that there aren't other slam bands that do it. I think that they do it the best.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I think as far as like the modern incantation of a lot of those bands go, like Disgorge and stuff, I mean, Disgorge hasn't put out a record in I don't know how many years. And a lot of those like bands that kind of pioneer that style aren't really doing it as much anymore. And now I feel like a lot of the bands, and I'm not saying this as a knock by any means, but a lot of the bands that identify as slam, it's almost like deathcore with like some of the like slam elements there, but it's just kind of like, I feel like that style is very kind of commingled now, not in a bad way, because I like a lot of those bands, but hearing Wormhole was just kind of like, okay, like these guys get it, you know what I mean? You hear it and you're just like, yeah, they know what they're doing, and they know like the real shit. So it's cool. It is an awesome record.
Did you see that Malcolm dropped vinyl for A Loathing Requiem?
I did. I saw that the other day on the Artisan group, which is wild. Has he not done that yet? I thought he did.
No, it's never.
Really?
It's only ever been CDs and like shirts, and that's it. I actually, as soon as I saw it go up, I was like laying in bed being a piece of shit, and I saw it in the group and was like, collector's bundle, bye.
Damn, you bought it? He won't send you that shit for free, man?
I mean, if it was Inferi or Equipoise, but you know, I want my boy to get paid.
I hear you, man. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you know what? I did see that too, and honestly, dude, like the way that Artisan presents their releases and shit, they just make it look so good that you instantly want to buy. Like, I was literally thinking, because I think that the collector's bundle is like the shirt and then the 2 records, right?
Yeah, it's the 2 variants that you can't get just by ordering them singularly.
God, see, that's smart, man. That's an awesome move to make, because it's just like, oh, bam, there you go. And like, there's a lot of people in that group that buy all of the variants. So you know what I mean? Yeah. If they're doing that, of course they're going to get that bundle. Man. Yeah, now I'm going to think about grabbing. I really like the last one he did. I pre-ordered the newest Loathing Requiem when it came out on CD. I pre-ordered the CD. I still have the shirt somewhere. So
yeah, Acolyte's Eternal.
Yeah, and that's an awesome record, dude. That's probably the closest thing we're ever going to hear to Necrophagist ever again in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I think that you might be right. I do have kind of a theory about Necrophagus 3, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so there have been reports that, like, Muhammad says that it's done and just, like, on hard drive at his house. So I think what's going to happen is, like...
You guys are going to raid his house?
30 years from now, he's going to die.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, not 30 years from today.
Yeah.
You know, when he passes, I feel like some nerd is going to hit up his family and just be like, oh, hey, guys, I hear there's a PC or perhaps a Mac or a hard drive sitting around the house. I'd like to give you $1,000 for it. You know, some nerd is just going to swoop in and buy computers and stuff like that from whoever the lineage is, and then they're just going to leak it onto the internet.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that would be insane if that's the only way it's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
I think
personally, I feel like if it happens, that's how it'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I could agree. I mean, I've seen, like, people post, like, the Muhammad sightings when he goes out to shows in Germany. People post, like, because I remember Brody, when they did a Brody from Rivers of Nile, they did a European run with Revocation, and he said that Muhammad showed up to that show. But I wonder how many of those dudes were just like, do you...
oh, my God. Could you imagine the level of punish that he gets?
Oh, I'm sure it's...
for just doing anything metal associated? Like,
yeah. Dude, it's wild, man. Yeah, I mean, that's just... I don't know. I mean, that conversation, I'm sure, about Necrophagus 3 has happened so many times. I mean, on our podcast alone, we've probably talked about it at least 5 to 6 times.
Easily, yeah.
You know? And it's just crazy, man. I mean, how much... I wonder what would happen if he dropped... Like, I just wonder what would happen if Relapse was like, all right, we have Necrophagus 3. Here are all the insane pre-order bundles for it. You know what I mean? Like, what would happen?
I feel like if Relapse did that, I would probably just spend a lot of time thinking about how much cooler it would have been if the Artisan Era did it.
Yeah, I would agree. Man, because you know what? Like, the release, when they did the Spawn of Possession vinyls, dude, like, I bought them.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Malcolm does such a good job. It's so sick that he, like, that somebody gives a fuck about, like, the physical product, because there's so many metal record labels where, like, I'll buy a vinyl or I'll buy a CD and I'm like, oh, this is all I got. Like, I could have just done this for free on Spotify, even though I like, you know, supporting my favorite bands. But when you buy something on Artisan Era, it's just like, oh, you're getting, like, a vinyl color that's insanely sick and, you know, really nice packaging and a CD or, you know, or the vinyl itself. It's just, he gives a fuck and it's cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Him and Mike are they're the dynamic duo, man. I feel like they have done more for, like, especially genre of, like, technical death metal. But, like, you know, now that things are now that the label is, like, broadening the scope and they're bringing on bands like Myth of I and Weight and stuff like that. Yeah. Also, I'm just expanding that out to extreme metal. But I feel like those two have probably done more to further the longevity of this genre within, like, the last 5 years than, like, any two other people in the industry.
I agree.
Like,
I 100% agree, man. It's crazy to see, like, that type of labor of love get as big as it's gotten. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, and every time something more, like, cool and technical comes out, I'm just like, well, can't wait for another Warforged release to throw everybody off from not being as insane in that same way as you know, these other bands that are ripping it.
Speaking of Warforged, I was at home a while back in Colorado, and I had I bought the flag. I had it hanging on my wall, and there was one day where I did let's just say a fair amount of mushrooms. Okay, just a fair amount, no more, no less. And I decided to put on Voice, and I was literally just sitting there during the entire album, like, staring at that flag, kind of following the both lyrical and musical portions of the story, and then just, like, going around the flag, like looking for Easter eggs.
Yeah, there's a lot in that artwork, man.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I honestly did not realize how intricate the artwork for that was until I like bought the flag from you guys and could see it like super blown up.
Hell yeah.
For some reason, when I was just looking at it like on the disc, like I didn't see the man in the boat and stuff like that. That's like down in the bottom left corner and stuff. And like Sam Nelson did a spectacular job.
He did, man. That was fun. That was a fun process too, because I remember me and Adrian were going back and forth with all of these intricate details we wanted to add, and like he was cool enough to like go back and do all of it, which was really sick. But I love the way that it turned out, and I think the stuff that we'll be doing next with him is definitely going to be a little different than that. But man, I think he did like a killer job of that stuff, and his art style, I love it. You know what I mean? I think it's so sick. And
yeah, absolutely. It stands out. Like when you see something that Sam did, like once you're sort of aware of his artistic flow, you can look at a wall or you can look at a bunch of metal album covers and immediately pick out like, that's Sam Nelson. That's Sam Nelson. That's Sam Nelson. That's Sam Nelson. Which
is awesome, because it's like, I hope he becomes one of those death metal artist institutions, like Dan Seagrave or anybody on that level. Like, I could totally see Sam's shit reaching that shit. I think it will turn into that eventually.
Honestly, it's my opinion. I think that like the next like wave of people that are going to hit like that Parr Olafson like level of like integral metal artists would be, I'd say, Sam Nelson. Ken Seraphin and Justin Abrams. I think those are like my favorite three right now.
Yeah, I just saw a cover. I don't want to say who the band is because it's not announced yet, but I saw a piece done by Justin recently, and it's a lot different than the other stuff he's done for a lot of other bands, and it's like my favorite thing I've seen him do yet. It's so fucking sick.
Nice.
And it's dope. I mean, people will find out eventually, I think within the coming months, but it's definitely a really cool piece, and it was cool to see him do something. I love seeing artists do stuff that's kind of outside of their comfort zone or outside of their typical,
outside of their usual.
Exactly. Like Sam, for voice, like I know Sam does a lot of landscape-esque artwork for a lot of bands, like kind of like when he did our EP, the Essence of the Land EP, like that's sort of a landscape type of deal. And when we were coming up with voice, we were like, all right, let's not do that. Let's try and do something that he hasn't done before. And I think it turned out awesome. And I just love seeing those artists. And Ken Seraphin is so sick, dude. I wanted him to do the Roman Ring album artwork, but I had no idea how to contact him. And what sold me, not only did I really like him before, but like the artwork he did for the Zenith Passage full length is some of like my favorite artwork of all time.
Yeah, the Solipsis record.
Yeah, dude, it's so sick,
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's one of those album covers to me that's like, it'll be like burned in my memory for the rest of time because of how sick it is. And
absolutely.
I don't see him doing as much shit as often as I thought I would, though.
I know that he's busy with like work and stuff like that. Just because he has like an art related kind of like day job that he does, and so I think he kind of just took a little bit of time off. But he's done a lot of really cool stuff for a lot of bands. Like he did a cover for Oceano, he did a cover for Skinless.
Okay, I know those album covers.
He did Sentient for my old band Dissonance and Design, which I remember that one. Absolutely love the way that one turned out. He actually did a design for a t-shirt for Tethys that we have as well, which is pretty sick. Once again, super happy with that.
Yeah, I remember that shirt. I remember seeing that when we played with you guys like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think right. Yeah.
In New Mexico, I think that was like right when we just got those. Like that was like the fresh.
For sure, dude. That show was wild. That was that show we played in the parking lot in New Mexico.
Oh yeah.
That was an insane show. It was so much fun though.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember we got there and we were like, wait, what?
Yeah,
and then there's like, build the stage, put the thing. Like it was like, oh shit.
And it ended up being really cool.
Yeah, it was like everybody in town came because they were already there for that culture festival or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild, dude. It was so sick. And that was my first time ever in New Mexico. Like, I'd never been there before. Yeah. Yeah, it was my first time out there. So it was just like, we were all exposed to not cornfields in Illinois. Right. So, you know, we're just like in Midwest, we got nothing, dude. We have like a couple of lakes. And, you know, in Chicago, we have Lake Michigan. That's probably the most... I don't even want to use the word exotic because that's too good of a word for Lake Michigan. But that's probably the most like interesting like landscape that we have. Is like Chicago has a beach. The water's really disgusting and you'll find a lot of weird bugs in it.
Gross. It's cold. There's garbage in it.
Yeah, dude. And a lot of trash, but
tons of trash.
A lot of people like to party on the beaches. Dude, even when COVID-19 like kicked in Chicago, I remember driving because I don't live too far from this. There's like an iconic drive in Chicago called Lakeshore Drive. It's like a road that goes right alongside Lake Michigan, and you could pretty much get to like the furthest north tip of Chicago to the furthest southern tip from it. And I take it all the time now because nobody's ever driving anywhere, and I live really far north. And I remember you know, when they were like, all right, everybody don't go to work because you could get sick.
Right.
I saw a shitload of motherfuckers partying on the beach. And I'm just like, what?
And then they shut it all down.
Then finally the mayor had to come on TV and was like,
you guys are morons.
Yeah, don't go to the fucking beach.
Like, did you guys hear about all of those spring breakers that were still just like, oh, yeah, you know, I already booked my flight and stuff, so I figure... why not? I already had the plans. Like I saw a video on Twitter of all of these people that they were interviewing that were there. And I was like, all right, first of all, most of the people in this video look like their mom and their dad have the same mom and dad. So maybe that has something to do with their lack of decision making with everything that's going on. But I was flabbergasted. It was just like, what?
Dude,
what?
It's getting in. Did you see this weekend, or it was either this past week or this weekend, there was protests going on in Detroit.
Multiple cities.
I know Detroit had a big one in the Midwest that was like, we want to go back to work, and nobody's wearing masks and shit.
They're all just like hanging out next to each other, like high-fiving and shit.
You guys are going to get fucked, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you'll hear about it in like a couple weeks. Like, a bunch of people that were protesting just tested positive for COVID. No shit. There was a protest.
There was a protest in Denver also recently. It did not look the same as like the stuff from the videos that I saw of Michigan. Like it didn't look as aggressive and you know, like a lot of the photos that I saw from the Denver one, like people were wearing masks. They weren't like huddled together in large groups or anything. They were like a little more broken up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, still like, not a great idea.
Right.
You know,
it's so fucking funny to me that it's just like people are like, I saw there's like an image going around on the internet of a woman holding up a sign that said like, my body, my choice. And it's like, you guys, this is not about like controlling your body. It's about like trying to keep you somewhat safe. Like,
right. And keep others safe.
Yeah. It's like, are you guys fucking ridiculous? I mean, we could be the pot's calling the kettle black because we're together now doing this podcast, but
it's...
We're 6 feet.
Yeah, there's distance. I can see the distance betwixt you right now. Like,
plus we use a wide lens, so it looks like we're even further apart.
Yeah, yeah, it's deceiving. But yeah, you know, like we're not going out with multiple people, and we're like pretty much confined. Other than this, and
the only people I see are you, Gabe, and Eddie, and then my folks from time to time.
Yeah,
that is it.
Yeah, that's you. It's pretty much you and my parents. That's all it's been.
Yeah, which I mean, that's good. Keeping it safe, you know. I'm not.
And Adrian, I saw Adrian the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So there's that. Saw Adrian. Adrian shaved his head and shaved his beard.
Wait, he shaved his head?
Yeah. Yeah, he shaved his head and his beard.
He picked it?
He just like shaved it. He did it. We did a little Warforged video chat, and him and Jace shaved their heads together.
Holy shit!
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll have to send you a picture.
But, he's like almost unrecognizable. Like it's crazy.
His hair's already growing back, but
is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. He should keep rocking that look.
I agree. I told him that. I was like, dude, you look awesome.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he looks sick with it.
Jace or Adrian?
Adrian. Jace looks sick, but I can't like Adrian shaved his beard too, so it was like a really drastic change. Jace just shaved his head, and it looks cool, but it's also just like I think Jace looks better with a head of hair,
a little
bit, yeah. But Adrian was just like, yeah, fuck it. Like Adrian lost his job, and because of everything, working in the restaurant industry, and he was just like, well, what better time than now? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I can't argue with that. And yeah, it was definitely. I'm not going to be shaving my head anytime soon, but no, fuck no, man. But
I need a haircut so bad. Like you might not be able to see it, but I'm throwing out. Like I have a couple inches of curls on my head, and it's like my hair is super thick, and it grows in like every direction, and like 2/3 of it is curly, and then half of the other third is like not curly. So
really,
there's like no like I have just random patches of hair that's straight like between the patches of
curliness
section. Yeah. It's so my hair has to be wet for me to do anything with it. Like I can't just like when I wake up in the morning, like so like the days like today where I work at 6 a.m. I have to wake up early, stick my head in the shower, soak my hair so that I can kind of brush it so that it's not just like one side super flat and then the rest like whatever, like, you know,
doing its own thing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Damn, man.
I'm super nervous because I've had the same chick cut my hair for like the last 8 years. And now that I'm living out here, I have to find someone else to do it.
Well, dude, you're in Texas now. Why don't you try out, like if you get a new hairstylist, why don't you go for like a mullet or something?
It's flat top has been suggested to me by a few different people.
Really? A flat top? Would you do it?
I might try it. I might grow it out a little bit longer and try it out.
And then do it. You should, man. I think you should do a mullet, but if you don't decide to do that, I get it. But, if you change your mind, let me know.
Or a stylish rat tail.
I don't know if I could...
yeah, rat tail would be sick, too.
I actually had a rat tail when I was a kid.
That's nice. Dope. Yeah, I had
no joke, dude. Like, it was halfway down my back. Like, my mom cut it off at one point, and she still has it in, like, a photo album. It's legit like this long.
Awesome. Dude, that's awesome.
In the page.
Dude, when Inferi wins a Grammy, you should like throw that on eBay and be like, yo, Stevie's fucking childhood rat tail, dude. Somebody will buy it for like you can make like, a quick $5,000 or something like that off that. Dude, that'd be awesome.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
That'd be wasted.
I never had the balls to do a rat tail, but I had friends that had them and I always thought they were cool, especially when they were like the thin, like Jedi looking rat tails. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I had.
That's awesome. So it's like you could levitate it with the Force.
Yeah, dude. Totally. So I was training chlorian back in the day.
Hell yeah. That's dope, dude. Man, I never had the balls like that. My hair always grew out really weird when I was a kid. So I would end up inadvertently having like these strange mullets because like I would go for too long without cutting my hair.
So it just grew really fast like in the back or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Now, like, I shave the sides of my head and like the back, but I haven't done it in like 2 months now.
Yeah, me too. It's like, it's gross back here.
And I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, man, Adrian and Jace shave their heads because they can't go out. Maybe I should just do the opposite and like grow mine out because I can't go. I'm not really going out to impress. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm not impressing anybody. Maybe I'll just see what happens.
If you do a virtual date, they're just looking straight at you.
Exactly. So that's the whole thing, dude. Every virtual
the front looks good. You're good.
The virtual dates I've done since quarantine has been intact.
You have gone?
I've done a couple of them.
Really?
And it's just like FaceTiming with a stranger, but which is kind of like weird, and I kind of hate it. But it's like, at least I'm trying. Right? Yeah, and I just throw a hat on a beanie. Still. Yeah, exactly. It's still somewhat interactive, and it's kind of like, it's never my suggestion, but it's always somebody else, and they're just like, hey, we should go on a virtual date. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that? And then they're just like, oh, well, they're like, oh, we could FaceTime and like drink a beer. And I'm like, okay. Like some of them, one of them I got like very baked before, which made it a lot more fun.
Nice.
But it was also just like,
Can we have a virtual date on the show? Can we do that at some point?
No.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, if I trust somebody enough to have them on the show.
Dude, it'd be great.
That would be, I don't know.
If you can make that happen, that would be phenomenal.
My issue with talking to women and being high is that I do, my head gets in this headspace where like, I don't want to sound like I'm fucking insane. So then I hyper focus on what I'm saying, but then because of that, because I'm so hyper focused on what I'm saying, I inadvertently look fucking crazy.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'll say something
about.
and I'm like, well, then on the other side of the coin, it could be construed this way, and I'm like, why am I typing all this out?
Right.
I look like I'm gonna fucking stab someone. So it's just like
B-sides to your manifesto.
Yeah, I gotta kind of dude. I'm kind of like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be ripping it before, or like, because the thing is, and then I get too scared.
I mean, maybe just a little.
Well, the thing is, like, sometimes I'll get high and then somebody talks to me and then I'm just like, whoa, I'm like staring at them. I'm like, this is all just going over my head. I'm not even listening to them. I don't know how I'm going to recover when they're done talking
and
here.
And while you're thinking that, they're still
that's
talking.
That's usually what happens to me.
Everything.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly. And I'm just like, yeah, you know, like,
cool.
Like, that's cool. Yeah, I agree. You know, just all
my go-to thing is I'll just be like, oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
what did they say?
Me too. I love saying for sure. I'll be like, yep, I totally agree. Could be something I completely don't agree with, and then it's just like, well, hope that lands somewhere.
You
but
just dig yourself out of the hole later.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky for me. But you know, maybe I'll work on not sounding like a sociopath when I'm baked.
Baby steps.
Yeah. And then somebody asks me, they'll be like, oh, what do you listen to? And I'm like, oh my God. And then I just fucking unload. Because like in my head, I listen to all these pop, like there's a band I love. I've talked on the show probably like a billion times about them. This band called the 1975. They're a really big like pop band out of the UK.
You could add that to like a drinking game, you know.
How many times does Jason talk about either Brockhampton or the 1975?
Take a swig.
And like in my stupid high mind, I'm just like, oh, probably like a lot of other people like this because it's not metal. And if, you know, normal people...
Is it like widely popular?
Yeah, the 1975 is huge.
What about Brockhampton?
Brockhampton's huge too. Okay. Yeah. So usually somebody like likes one or the other, and then I just like go down and they're like, and they'll be like, oh, I only listen to like a lot of.
You probably overanalyze it in comparison to some normie.
Well, that's the thing. Like Stevie you could probably attest that a lot of metalheads listen to metal in record form. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to listen to a metal band, you're putting that album on front to finish, or at least at some point you're going to be digesting the whole record. Whereas opposed to,
I feel like a lot of metal fans tend to listen to records from front to back more frequently than people that listen to a lot of other types of music, you know?
Absolutely.
Or like one of my, oh my God. So the store that I'm at right now, they play music. And it's awful. Like it's terrible. Like,
yeah.
Is it really bad.
Is it like Muzak or is it like actual bands?
Is it like real songs or just like,
or is it like rip-offs of like other songs?
Or, like some weird.
So half of them are rip-offs of songs. Like the other day I heard this there was this Ed Sheeran song that they were playing. It's like this it's a total wedding song. Like it's I think it's called Perfect or You Look Perfect or something like that.
I hate that song, dude. I hate Ed Sheeran personally.
I can't think of it.
You know, admittedly, like I can see why people like it. Would I just totally want to listen to it on my own? Probably not. No. But they had a version that was that song. They stripped out like 80% of the guitar, and there was your basic 4/4 like club beat in the background. And I was just like, this does not serve the song. Like, this is a fucking like wedding song that's supposed to be like quiet and like focused and special, and like you put the most generic fucking bullshit. Like,
yeah, dude, it's the club. This the club remix, dude.
Yeah, and so that's what a lot of the stuff that they play is, and it drives me insane, dude. Like I literally I'm like musically fatigued after work because I'm forced like 6 to 8 hours worth of this kind of stuff, you know. So a lot of days if I get off work and I want to do music stuff, I feel like detox for like a couple hours.
Yeah, dude.
So that I can like get my ears back. And
I hear that, man.
Yeah.
I remember I used to work at a restaurant. Like that was like my first job, and I was there for like 5 years. And they would just put on like I don't even know what radio station it was. It wasn't like B96 because they didn't play like a lot of hip hop, but it was a lot of like Taylor Swift
crowd
songs.
That went in there, so it's probably like top 40.
No, what? Well, yeah, sort of like that. So like you would hear like a Drake song maybe a couple times a day, but like you would hear about the same Taylor Swift song every hour on the hour, and like Kelly Clarkson singles, Pink. that band Fun, and like it got to the point where like I hated those songs so much that whenever anybody would bring up any of those artists, I'd be like,
I
"That's
will
bullshit."
kill you.
Yeah, like I just couldn't take it. Yeah. I mean, it's like I don't mind hearing it like once or twice, but like these songs, I like knew them so well because I heard them so many times. I was just like, "Oh my God, kill me." Like
one thing that I think is kind of funny that you guys might be able to relate to also as musicians is like, so I was bitching about one of the songs I was playing the other day, and one of my coworkers was like, "Why don't you like this song?" So musically, I told her what I thought the shortcomings of the music were, and like very specific parts where I was like, this is just so predictable and cheesy. Like their voice, like, you know, it would have been much more interesting if they would have done this with their voice, or if it went into this kind of section afterwards. And she just kind of like stared at me blankly and was like,
just a glazed look.
Yeah, what?
That's how you listen to music? And I was like, are you even listening? Like, are you using your ears? Like, what?
Yes, dude, it's the same shit. I like that's the same people with me like that I talk to too, and I'm like, oh, you don't like I was saying, like metal guys, I feel like listen to a lot of records front to back, or like you find an album you like.
I think any like musician, you know, pretty much does. I don't think it's just metal guys, but you know, because it's kind of it's your business, you know, like so you got to be on top of that, and you kind of have to listen to everything. Kind of get a gauge.
Yeah, get an idea of what the artist is about,
like, and then like get influence from it, or you know, stuff like that, and like. But as somebody that's a civilian, a non-musician, yeah, they're just like,
yeah, oh, I like this song.
They're hearing
like,
it, they're not listening to it. You know,
I find a band. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, Jason. You find a band and.
I find a band, and then if I like them, I'm like, oh fuck, I want to hear everything that they have to offer. Yeah. You know, but as opposed to some people who are just like, oh, I like that song. I'm like, what? That's not their best song. Like,
you know, there's better songs in the album.
Yeah, that's how.
One thing that I kind of attribute that to is, at least that I kind of made up in my head, is like passive listening versus active listening.
Yeah, definitely.
Passive listeners are like people that they kind of. Music is always just a background thing to them. Like they put it on so that they can wash their dishes, or they put it on so that they can go for a run, or they put it on so that they can be in a social situation with other people and like talk to people. But it's just always a background thing, like a passive digestion of something versus like, you know, people that are either actually really, really into music and like, you know, we've met tons of non-musicians that are active listeners, people that, you know, I find that especially a lot of people that listen to vinyl, musicians or not, are typically more active listeners because there is a ritual that goes along with like finding your vinyl and de-sleeving it and putting it on and putting the needle on it and then waiting until it passes so you can flip the disc and like start the side B or C or D and going through and listening to it that way. Versus people that are just like, oh, cool, I made a Spotify playlist, bam. And then they're like, the music is just a secondary thing to whatever else it is that they're doing versus actually being an experience.
That's so funny you bring that up because I feel like I'm so self-sabotaging when it comes to like making playlists for people or like even for myself. Like before I know it, I'm like, oh yeah, this band would be good. Then I basically put on the whole fucking record on the playlist, and there's like maybe two songs I don't like, and I'm just like, oh well, fuck. Like
I always make it's difficult, but a very hard conscious effort. I can't do something like that.
I can't do it. I can't
unless it's like so fucking good. Then I'm like, all right, we'll put a couple on. You know,
I can't find a playlist. I don't know. I just, my brain doesn't adapt to music in that format, the playlist. Like I'll listen to playlists that other people make and I like them and I think they're cool. But when it comes time for me to make them, I'm just like, I'm fucked. I can't do it. Like, and
I can, like, I'm in one of those people that will, like I will listen to a whole album, but then I cherry pick and then I'm like, all right. Then I throw those somewhere on something. But
but see, I can't have a playlist where it's like, here's an Inherent Disease song followed by like a Kendrick Lamar song. Like I can't do that shit because it would drive me insane. Because I have to listen. I'm in like two separate mindsets when I'm listening to like a disgusting death metal band and then like a sick rapper. You know what I mean? Or like Thundercat and then
I like that. That's how I do it at work. Like when I do, it's been a while since I listened to music, but when I did, I just let my Spotify go.
Just go. Yeah.
And I have a lot of stuff on there. It's like cherry pick songs, and there are whole albums on there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of fun to go from like, oh yeah, it's like there's this awesome Weezer song that I love, and then all of a sudden some brutal death metal song
something disgusting comes on.
I was like, oh man, it's like I don't know. I like the dynamic.
So you do put it on like shuffle then?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Like I literally just play all my favorites.
Maybe I'll try and do that. Maybe I'll try and make a playlist and find artists and then pick like max 2 songs that I really like by them. You know what I mean? So that way it's not the same thing. But I'll have like, I don't know, honestly, and I'll be real with both of y'all here, the only time I'm really trying to make playlists is when I'm talking to a woman and she's like, oh, would you make a playlist for me? And then I'm like, yeah. So then it's just like, I try to put on like, if there's any metal on it, it's like The Contortionist or like, you know, something that is not like doesn't sound like a pig or a farm animal.
Yeah. You're throwing on the bedroom band.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, maybe
like here's that sensual primordial sound.
Yeah, you know, some of that. Yeah, dude. The Contortionist is always it's usually an instant hit too, because it's like,
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Especially if you're showing like something from like Language or Clairvoyant.
Yeah,
like
that's always what I do.
That's usually a good one to row people into stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I love that band, period. But like, I have noticed that a lot of people are receptive to that because it's more of like, is it
a little more chill?
Oh, way more chill.
Oh yeah.
You would probably like it.
Language is way more chill than their first 2 records. It's sort of the pivotal. It's like they pivoted and in a different direction, and Clairvoyant is like a prog rock record.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like alternative rock with some weird time signatures.
Okay,
it's sick.
There's a couple heavy parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when that album came out, a lot of people were like, "There's no screaming on this album," and I was just like, pushed my glasses up the bridge of my nose. I was like, well, actually, if you listen to the title track, Clairvoyant, there are plenty of screams layered in this part, in this section, in this part, in this section.
Mix.
Listen to things actively.
Yeah, yeah, you can hear them. I think that's the only song I know of that has screams, but they're there. You know, they're just not as predominant in them. They're not like huge in the mix, and they're behind clean vocals, but they're still there. But yeah, that Clairvoyant's my favorite record by that band. And it's just like, I think I like it so much. And when I heard it, honestly, like the first time I listened through it, I was like, I didn't even notice that there wasn't a lot of screaming on it, because I guess at that point, I don't even really expect it from that band anymore. Or at least that's not usually what I listen to that band for. And then finally I was like, oh, there is a little bit of screaming here, but not near. Language didn't have a lot of screaming to begin with. And I feel like it didn't, but then now it's just like, oh, it seems like the natural move is they're kind of distancing away from that type of thing. But
yeah. Honestly, those are easily my 2 favorite records by them. And Clairvoyant. I have a lot of friends that like really loved Language that aren't really into Clairvoyant, and I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, I love it. Like Godspeed is one of my favorite Contortionist songs. It just from beginning to end, it just like keeps my attention. The pacing is great. The melodies are great. The kind of changes that they do in it are it's total earworm. I love that whole record, man. I think it's got such a cool flow to it, and like I could listen to it like beginning to end almost any day, and I'm not sick of it. So there's this. So you're pretty familiar with it then, yeah?
Oh yeah.
The very last song on it is really long, and a lot of it's like very kind of like droney.
Yeah.
There's this one vocal peak that like every time I hear it, I legitimately get goosebumps. Like I love Michael Lessard's voice.
Yeah.
And there is he holds out like the lyric, I think is I know you couldn't sleep or something like that. And he holds the note for like a while, and then like the last 5 seconds like sprinkles this vibrato into it.
Yeah, I know exactly.
And then there's
what you're
a couple other voice. Oh, dude. Every time I hear that part, it's like instant goosebumps.
Yeah,
like,
awesome, dude. They're such a sick band.
Incredible.
Yeah. I'm pumped for whatever they're going to do next. I like that EP a lot, but it was just kind of like, well, here's 4 songs, but where's the rest?
Here's a little taste, you know. And one of them was a Smashing Pumpkins cover. So it was 3 originals and a Smash.
What song?
Yeah, no, they did a great job with it.
1979.
Really?
Yeah, it's an awesome cover too.
I might have to check that out.
Yeah, you might have to check it out.
All right.
You might. I saw them do that.
Called The EP's called Our Bones. Are you about to say that you saw them do the double set where they did the stripped down?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so jealous.
Oh, yeah.
So jealous. I literally, that wasn't last year. It was the year before, right?
Yes.
It was
2018.
I feel like 2018 and 2019, I missed most of the shows that I was actually looking forward to, because every time that we were on tour was when things
Those
like
bands
that
were on
happened.
tour. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, I miss like all, like, pretty much every, like, I definitely went to some shows, but the majority of the ones that I was like genuinely like really stoked on, knew about months in advance, saw the tour announcement and was like, oh, I'm going to that one. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna be in state X at that time.
Yeah, dude, that was one of the shows that me, Max, Alex, and Jason, almost all of Warforged actually went to, because it's very rare that all five of us all like one band in common. And I think Adrian's the only one who's sort of passive. I think he likes some of the Contortionist stuff, but he's not too into them like the rest of us are. So, yeah, but it was fun that we all got to go and like go to that show. Otherwise, like the only shows we're all hanging out at are like the ones we play, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It's very rare that everybody goes out to like one show. Sometimes it happens, but it's not often.
I think the only show that everybody in Inferi has ever been at was actually Mike's other band Oubliette was playing with this really sick band called Volcandria, and you know, Mike was there playing, and then like Spencer, Andrew, Malcolm, and I like all went to go check it out and stuff.
Hell yeah!
It's the first time I ever got to see Oubliette, and I've been listening to them since like I think 2016, maybe 2015. So seeing them for the first time was really sick. And then with Tethys, I don't think all of us ever did go to, because most of it was mostly because of Shay. Like Sev, our bass player, goes to tons of shows. Quinn goes to tons of shows. Corey and I like go to a lot of shows. But our drummer Shay is like he's kind of a homebody. He has you know, at most points he was like working full time, going to school full time, and then also doing the band. So he like just was very, very selective with
on the shows
which
that he was
shows
going
he wanted to go
Yeah.
to. Yeah,
dude, Shay is such a sick guy. I love that dude. He's so nice.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. Easily one of the smartest people I've ever met. Like he has a natural aptitude for devouring subjects that like it's a quality of his that I admire. Like just his ability to focus, break things down, rebuild them, and like just have a complete understanding rather than like a surface level amount of intelligence about things. Is something that I find very admirable, especially the vocal part. I suck at focusing.
Yeah.
And he's a sick drummer, and he's actually like a really good pianist also.
Really?
Which is he's a pretty insane piano player.
That's awesome, man. I remember that show we played with you guys in Gallup, and like I remember because I was playing on his kit that night, because on that tour we were touring with Apotheon, and we didn't even have our own van. We were renting a van for that tour. So we had to downsize on gear, and the Apotheon guys were letting us use a majority of their gear, and they couldn't make it to that Gallup show because they had issues with their rental van, because the first night of that tour was in Denver, which is where they're from. And were you at that show, the one we did at the Roxy with Apotheon? Or not?
Yes.
I think it was
there.
the Roxy. Yeah. That was the next day was like, that was the first day of our tour. And so they obviously made it to that show because they all lived there. But then their plan was in the morning, they were going to pick up the rental van with their trailer and get everything good to go. But they had issues with the van, and they ended up having to miss the first show. And the drive from Gallup to Denver is somewhat long. It's like 6 hours, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, it's a lengthy one. So they couldn't make it. They ended up getting the van like halfway through the day, and they were like, yo, we're just going to drive to the next show, which I don't remember where it was off the top of my head. But I remember Shay let me use his drum kit, and he had it set up, and we were kind of checking it out, and Shay was showing it to me, and there was this homeless dude that was hanging out in Gallup, and he was, do you remember that video of him doing those insane dance moves while Shay was just like playing drums in the parking lot, and this homeless
he was literally just dancing around Shay in a circle, and then there were points where he was like pitting by himself.
Yeah, he was like rolling on the ground and shit. It was insane, dude. Yeah, he was wilding the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
At
was
least
awesome.
he was having fun.
Yeah.
I guess.
I wonder if he still has that video.
I'm gonna look for it. I might.
If you haven't, please send it to me.
Yeah, I'll look for it later. If I do have it, I'll send it.
Sounds good. Yeah, dude. Yeah. So Tethys, you guys have been releasing a couple singles.
Yeah, we put out one single on New Year's Day. And then that was Darkest Reflection.
Okay.
And then we put out another single called This Too Shall Pass. I want to say 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, we're working on the record still, but those were two songs that we kind of had the ideas for beforehand.
Okay.
And we could have put them on the album, but it's one of those things where we're writing a concept album, and I feel like trying to put either of those songs in would have kind of disrupted the flow of what we have going for it. So we decided, since it was material that we'd already been rehearsing and been practicing and writing beforehand, we might as well just go ahead and record and release them. It also gave us a chance to go test out a studio that we were looking at for recording the album, and get like a really solid idea of what that style of like mixing and mastering and stuff does for our particular sound, as opposed to just judging the bass off of the basses off of other bands that have gone into that studio. We're able to find a place that we know we want to go to for sure, establish a good relationship and see what that routine is like. And then make sure that it's a quality product that, we're going to be able to enjoy, and that hopefully other people will be able to enjoy as well.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it too. Experiment with a couple places and really hear your own sound go. Because I don't know. I think almost every band I've been in, every time we've gone to a studio, it's been based off of what we've heard come out of it before from another band, or based on, or even if it's just somebody we know, but it's never tested with what. The closest thing I could relate that to would be before Warforged mixed with Voice with Pete Grossman. Mm-hmm. We had a couple different guys do test mixes, and we kind of when Pete just had the sickest one, so we were like, oh yeah, let's do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So with that, did you guys send out a specific song?
Yeah, we had people mix Voice, the title track, because it's such a weird ass song, and it goes so many different places. And we had some big guys do it, like Colin Marston from Gorguts. He did a test mix, and we had
Adrian was telling me a bit about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you guys sent the whole record, or just let people listen to it to see what it sounds like, and then pick something off of it to do it, or how you guys went about it.
Yeah,
that's really cool though.
Yeah, we paid a bunch of guys just to do one song, because that's kind of all we could afford. I remember a big goal of ours, at least me and Adrian's, because we're such big Opeth guys. They recorded that infamous studio in Sweden called Fascination Street, where everything they do just sounds so fucking good. It's the pinnacle of metal production, in my opinion. And we had the most affordable engineer at that studio do a test mix, and his was awesome, but it was just even going with that engineer, as opposed to the big guys who do those guys I'm pretty sure have done Meshuggah Records, Opeth, Enslaved. A lot of big European bands go there. Soilwork, In Flames. Big ass dudes.
Heavy hitters.
Yeah. So, but we were just oh yeah, we can't afford that. It's out of pocket. Really? Yeah. I forget what the amount was for the top engineer there to record it, but it was something like astronomical.
Right.
And, you know, we funded that record ourselves, so we were like, yeah, there's no way we can afford this. But it's still cool, you know. But
it's so cool that you tried it at least.
Yeah, it's I think that's a cool way to go about it, though. It's just kind of like, what better way to test, you know, a product other than with your own band and your own music. So that's sick you guys did that. I think that's a really cool move.
Doing that with Shane also was like the first time that I had recorded vocals with another person in forever. Cause like, I mean, Rebirth I did at home. The Equipoise album I did at home.
Oh wow. I didn't know that.
The two Ashen Horde, one of the Ashen Horde EPs I just recorded with Corey. It was before I kind of had any sort of bearing on how to track my own vocals and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But then Fallen Cathedrals and Tritigan, the other two Ashen Horde releases I've done, I recorded by myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been like a while. I've been long enough that I was like kind of nervous, you know, because I was like, when I do things by myself, there's like leisure, and I don't have to just like go in and get the things done. Like I can kind of just take my time and do it at my own pace.
Yeah.
When I record stuff at home, I always try to just like get a song done like in a session, not just stretch it out over multiple days. Cause I feel like it like, as long as you can do it, in a way that sounds quality, I feel like for the consistency of vocals from beginning to the end of the album, it helps to do it in a shorter time period, you know, like whether it's like a song a day or something like that, or like several songs in a day, and you just like knock out the album in like 3 days or whatever. Personally, I feel like it just kind of, it helps, because I know that there have for sure been times where like I'll be demoing stuff out for something, and I'll demo a song, and then a week and a half later I do it, or, you know, a month later I make changes. So I go through and I just like redo the entire thing, and listening to them like A, B, I'm like, holy shit. Like, you know, like this has so much more blah, blah, blah than this one does. So, I've always tried, or I try to like keep it within a certain window, but, yeah, recording with other people makes me nervous.
Yeah. And I'm, so I won't say who it was, but Malcolm was telling me for the next Inferi, you guys are planning on going to a studio and having like a producer do it. Yeah.
We're going to be going in as a group together and doing it all, which is cool, because it's something that like I've never done it with a band ever. So when Dissonance recorded Sentient, and when Enemy Rain recorded Between Hell and Oblivion, we did both of them at a studio in Denver called Flatline Audio. But like, I kind of just came in, like, you know, like I would come check in every once in a while and see how things were going with the guys. But like, I wasn't there all day, every day, like checking stuff out and like nitpicking things or anything like that. So I kind of just showed up and recorded my vocals with Dave on the days that I was scheduled to do vocals, and then bounced. Yeah. But Inferi decided that it would be a good idea. We all talked about it when we were in Europe, and we're like, hey, you know, we put together a list of studios that we wanted to like look into, and we got quotes from a couple different places, and then we found the place that we wanted to go and the engineer that we wanted to work with, and found a slot for availability. So we're like, all right, cool. We know where we're going to go and do the thing. So we're going to go as a group so that everybody can be involved in each piece of the record being made.
That's awesome. It's going to sound so good, dude. Like, it's going to sound awesome, especially for you guys. Like, I feel like the person who is doing it is just going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I think it's going to be excellent. You know, like I feel like I have nothing but optimism about the hands that we are putting our music in, and about the other guys in the band. Like the stuff that we have written so far for this record, I really, really, really enjoy it. The music is very fun to listen to. It's very interesting.
That's awesome, man.
And yeah, I need to get my ass to work more.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So are you still going to be doing Equipoise stuff too?
Yeah, actually, Nick and Sanjay are writing right now, so I am tentatively Inferi is my number one focus at the moment. So getting these songs done to the best of my abilities is kind of my number one priority with music right now. I finished that Ashen Horde record several days ago, probably like 4 or 5 days ago, and got all that stuff submitted. Inferi is up next, and then I will be working on Tethys when that's done, and Sanjay and Nick are already working on stuff for the next Equipoise album. I kind of already have a number of things decided for that as far as what things are going to be thematically.
Hell yeah.
Lyrically. So towards the end of the year, I should be writing that. So
awesome, dude.
4 records this year.
That's killer. Are you pumped?
Dude, I'm super excited. I'm nervous about some aspects, particularly the Inferi one, just because it's the first record that I've been writing with them. And like I said the other day, I had written part of this song and I tracked my parts and sent it to them, and was kind of just super fucking nervous that everybody was gonna like
hate it.
pick my parts apart, like pick it all down into pieces and send me a shit ton of notes on stuff to change. And was super nervous about it and got like really, really anxious, waiting to hear what people had to say about it. But everybody enjoyed it. So, like I said, I really like the trajectory that we're on, and the songs that we have picked out for it. So, yeah, it's gonna be sick.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome, dude. You have any exclusive previews you could give us, or like give me an exclusive factoid?
Exclusive factoid.
I know we're very early into the game, and I understand if you don't want to give us it at all. But
so I think the only exclusive factoid that I could really give you is that today is Andrew Kim's birthday, and he's my coworker. he's a pretty solid little dude. So
yeah, he's a solid little
Andrew.
dude. I want to get him on the show, man, if he would be down. So me and him could just sit here and insult each other for 3 hours.
Oh my God, that would actually be amazing. The two of you go toe to toe. You know, Andrew loves to ruffle people's feathers.
Yeah.
And I like to think that I have the ability to like ruffle his a little bit.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, he's a sweet boy.
He really is. He really is. I do enjoy giving him shit more than anyone else in the band, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you guys are all...
Him and I are always kind of just like shitting on each other.
Yeah, man, it's so much fun. And all you guys in the band are so everybody in the band is cool as fuck. Like everybody in that band brings something like different personality wise. It's just fun hanging out with all you guys. I miss you guys. I miss touring with you guys, man.
Yeah, I miss you guys, and I can say as a collective that Inferi misses you guys.
Hell yeah!
Like every time we go on tour with anyone, literally during every single tour, there's always that point of like, man, I wish Warforged was on this bill. Like, we miss those goofy motherfuckers. Like, why can't they just be here also?
Well, we're just working on more goofiness for next time we all get to hang out. So,
yeah, dude, I'm really, really excited for that. Honestly, I was super stoked that you guys asked me to do a guest spot on Voice. And
oh yeah, man,
because I legit like love that record. And when you guys sent me Eat Them While They Sleep, I was just like, what the hell am I even gonna do? Adrian's vocals are so amazing. Like, I don't feel like I can add anything to this of like much value. Like he already like killed it. And you know, I probably like listened to that record more times than probably like any other release from like the last couple years.
Damn, dude.
Like, no joke. Like, yeah,
that's sick. Yeah. Thanks, man. I mean, you spit that fire on. You spit that fire on that verse, dude. You know you're good. You know you good. Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I love your part on that song, and that's so much fun to play. I love that song. Period. It's one of my favorite ones to play live for sure. But I love your vocals on that.
Thank you. Personally, like my favorite songs on the album, I would say "Cellar," and then "Eat Them While They Sleep" for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one day we'll play Cellar, maybe, but haven't done it yet. That's like the ass beater song for me, dude. That's like the hardest song to play. We played it before, but we were actually going to play it on an upcoming tour, but that tour has just been canned. So,
I know what tour you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm big sad that that's not happening.
I'm big sad too. We're all big sad about it, but I don't know. I mean, hopefully
it can get rescheduled. That would be the best possible thing.
I think that's the game plan. If not, I don't know what I can and cannot say, but if it doesn't get rescheduled, it's going to become part of something a lot bigger than what was initially planned. So either way, it's going to be cool whenever it happens. But
I mean, you guys are doing it, so of course it's going to be cool.
Well, we'll see about that, but hopefully we'll be playing some new shit by then. So that's kind of the goal in mind. We were actually toying around with the idea of playing something new on this on that tour that was supposed to happen. So I'm sure by the time the next thing happens, we'll definitely be doing something a little, sneaky peeky previewy.
I know that things are like ever evolving and kind of ever changing, and nothing is ever really, really set in stone until it's like mixed, mastered, and pressed. But what phase of the writing process would you say you guys are in? Like, do you guys have skeletons for a few songs, or?
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of like ideas that are we have a lot of structures somewhat planned out at this point. We do have a couple songs that are close to being done. And we've just been, honestly, like, this whole thing sucks because we haven't really had a chance to practice since this all kicked in. But before that, we were doing this thing where we met up like every weekend and spent like an entire day exclusively working on new stuff, all of us together in the practice spot. It's a lot. We're working with a lot of new things that our band has never done before as far as writing goes and as far as working all together. Like, this is definitely the first Warforged effort where it's been almost a collective of us all getting together to write it, as opposed to either just Adrian or, something like that. So it's definitely different. It's different than it's been before. But I mean, we're well on our way there. We know what it's going to be, what the next release is going to be. We have a title for it now. We have bits and pieces all coming together. So we're kind of sick. Yeah, we're doing whatever we can at this point on, like, as far as doing what we can with the record while we all can't be together. So
yeah, well, that's the smartest possible way to do it.
Yeah.
So going back to you talking about how that process is different this time. I know that, like, Adrian wrote the majority of the material for voice. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
With that, how much freedom did you have with drum parts? Because, like, I don't know if he was working so much on that as he was like guitar, bass, keys, vocals.
Oh yeah, Adrian's favorite thing to do is program drums, dude. Not really, but like he loves kicking my ass in that department and making me he definitely pushes me. There was a lot of freedom. I did have a lot of freedom to parts, and the cool thing about with Adrian's songwriting is he gives me a general feel, which is already something that's pretty much outside of my comfort zone, but he'll kind of let me do my own thing with that. So like there was a lot of parts on voice where like I would kind of add my own twist to it and be like, oh fuck, that's like awesome. Like keep doing that. You know what I mean? Or we'd be fucking around with parts like that. That's usually how the drums come together with Warforged stuff. Cool. And I mean, all of our songs are hard as fuck to play usually, but the more comfortable I get with them, the more ideas I could come up with. And it's always felt like I've been able to make those things more my own, which has been cool. So as far as a player goes, but yeah, it's definitely like a conjoint thing. Adrian's I feel like the rhythm sections and I don't know, I guess you would call it those I feel, at least with voice, those had the most expansiveness to it as far as what initially was there to what initially ended up happening, as opposed to the guitars and more the melodic stuff with the Warforged usually stays intact at least with voice stayed intact with the way Adrian had envisioned, but rhythmically, I feel like that was the most expansive, I would say, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, so the new stuff, though, it's kind of been like that approach with the drums, but with everything. Like, we're all sort of getting in the practice spot. We have a general idea of what we're going to be playing, but we'll experiment with it too. And some of the ideas have completely changed based on, the stuff that we're able to do. Because, I mean, we were always a big Guitar Pro band, like, tab it on a Guitar Pro and then translate it over to live instruments. But now... Now Guitar Pro really hasn't been utilized as much. So a lot of it has just been based on like, all right, what can we, what has been envisioned beforehand? And then when we bring it to practice and at the writing table, it's kind of like, oh, now that we're actually able to play this, all together, there's so many different things we could do with it, which has kind of been a cool avenue to go down because it's really getting weird in a good way.
Yeah.
And
no, dude, that's sick.
Yeah. It's definitely cool. And I don't want to say too much, but I think eventually I'll be able to say a lot. So I'm really pumped for it. It's a lot different than voice. I will say that it's a lot different. I think it's a lot cooler because it's a little more in the moment as opposed to voice, which was our first record that we worked on for like 5 fucking years. But, now that like, it's kind of like with you guys with Inferi, now that you guys have like you, Andrew, Kim, Spencer, Mike, Malcolm, like you guys have been doing it for a number of years now. You guys did Rebirth together. So you guys all got to gel musically together. And now that you guys have been playing, I don't know how many fucking shows since you've been in the band, like I'm sure you guys have honed in, a lot together. So I'm sure I would 100% say the next Inferi release is probably going to be the best release just because you guys have now had that incubation period where you guys are all so used to each other and used to playing with each other. So I think
oh Jesus, you just melted my heart there.
Well, I'm glad, man. But it's true, like I've always noticed especially with any band, like the more a core lineup stays intact and kind of learns how to play with each other, like you'll get to experience a lot more of a greater, I would say,
the
writing
results
process.
Are usually better and more varied, and it's not a singular thing. You know, it's a culmination of everybody, and everybody's different. So you get all that different flavoring to it, which is awesome.
Exactly, and with voice,
I definitely agree with you there. Like, one of my favorite things that I heard. So, like, I was an Inferi fanboy for a very long time. Like, I found Inferi when I was in high school, before the End of an Era came out.
Whoa!
And I remember hearing the like a demo version of Forged in the Phlegathon and Sentenced to Eternal Life on their MySpace page, and was just like, holy shit, this band is like everything that I want. And, so I'd been a huge fan through that, and then them breaking up and then getting back together and putting the Path of Apotheosis out and putting out Revenant and stuff. And one thing that I thought was really cool the other day, when I sent the parts that I sent, was that Malcolm was like, dude, this sounds a lot like something that Josh or I would write. Josh was the old vocalist that did their first 3 records. And I was just like,
well, yeah, man. I mean, I remember, I think the first time I knew of you, I don't even know if I had met you, was when Adrian was in Enfold and they toured with you guys when you were in Vale. And that's kind of when, that's like the first time I knew of who you were. I didn't meet you on that tour because that tour didn't come to Chicago or anything.
No, unfortunately,
but like,
it did not.
Adrian always had nice things to say about you, and I always knew of you through that. And I remember back then you posting like Inferi shit when Path of Apotheosis was coming out, and like, not a lot of people get to say that they were able to join one of their favorite bands, dude. Like, a lot of people don't get to live that.
It was like, literally a dream come true.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But speaking of that tour that Adrian and I did back in the day, that was when I first heard like Warforged. He showed me Guitar Pro stuff for some of the songs that would be on Essence of the Land, and I was just like, dude, what the hell? Because he like I was talking to him about Enfold Darkness, and there was one night that we were in like Florida, and we had to sleep in the van, and Enfold and Vale were sharing a van, so there were like 9 of us.
Oh my God!
Together inside of it, trying to sleep in super hot, humid Florida in the middle of the summer. And so I remember Adrian and I like went outside and we were just like sitting on a bench by this like kind of park thing. And he had his laptop and he's like, "Can I show you the stuff that I'm like working on for like my main project, like my thing?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, show me." And yeah, he showed me. It was, I want to say, maybe bits and pieces of Regurgitate, and then I think possibly that track Hyperbolic Time Chamber, maybe.
That could, I mean, yeah, that wasn't recorded yet when he showed you that, so that probably was it.
Yeah, it was just Guitar Pro stuff, and it was before. It was like before. Man, maybe like a year or two before Essence of the Land came out.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, and I was just like, God damn.
Adrian,
super sick.
Yeah, when Adrian left Enfold, that's kind of when we like kicked it into high gear with Warforged, and everything started to like come together pretty quickly. Like we did the demo, which had Hyperbolic on it, and another song. And then what was funny was Essence was supposed to be part of a split EP with a couple of other bands. But the other bands ended up, I'll say who they are because it probably doesn't matter now, but it was going to be us, this band called Acrania. I think it's Acrania, but they got picked up by Unique Leader. And they were more of like a slam deathcore band. And then the other band was the Zenith Passage. And it was going to be us three.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was going to be us three doing a split. But the Zenith Passage ended up doing Cosmic Dissonance, right? That's what it's called. They ended up doing that. And then we were kind of like, well, everybody's putting out shit, so I guess we'll do it on our own now.
Might as well, right?
And yeah, that's how Essence kind of came to be. That's when it became its own EP, as opposed to doing that split EP.
That's nuts. Honestly, Essence of the Land is still like one of my favorite EPs ever.
That's crazy, man.
It's so good.
That's so funny. I can't stand it. I'm okay with it.
Really?
But no, it's okay.
Yeah,
I don't mind it.
Are you telling me that you don't get pumped when you guys play Regurgitate?
I cannot stand playing that song, man. I don't get pumped playing that song.
Because
that song is like, I don't know, man. Like that, that one, we played that song so many times. Phantoms in the Mist, like, I don't mind playing that song, and I still kind of like it, but it's so far fucking removed from especially what we're doing now. It's like, I don't know how we would ever be able to play those songs again. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say anything that like we would never do that, but usually I never want to play those songs ever. But like, especially because like me and Adrian are the only guys in the band that recorded on that EP that are left. Yeah. Everybody else is not in the band. Alex was in the music video, but he didn't play bass on the record. He joined before we released it, but our previous bass player was on it. You guys
had that like short-haired blonde dude, Austin? Was that his name?
His name was Mark.
Mark. Oh.
Yeah. So he played bass on that, but it was just it's kind of funny because like sometimes the other guys are like, "Yeah, we should play it." I'm like, "You guys don't know how many times I've played it. You guys don't know." But
so question for both of you.
Okay.
Has there ever been a song like that you helped like recorded it and were like, "Man, super pumped, this song's so sick," and then you start playing it live and you're just like, "Holy fuck, I don't want to play this song," just because it's like super hard?
I don't know, man. With Roman Ring, like all of them.
Yeah, that's the long one. That's the one we all like regret playing.
Yeah, dude,
we've only done it once.
Yeah, Flesh to Spell. The song, the second to last song on our new album, The Halogen, which the Halogen had been done for 2 years before we put it out. I tried to get it out. Yeah, dude.
We had been sitting on it for a really, really long time.
We sat on it for a while because we were trying to pitch it to labels and nobody was really biting. And then all of us all have other projects. Like I do Warforged. Bill is in Something Is Waiting, who's awesome if you haven't heard them, and you should. Because every time,
check them out.
Every time Roman Ring gets a mention on press, nobody ever brings up Something Is Waiting,
dude,
which is total bullshit. Because they're like,
it's so weird.
Yeah,
like, I don't
so
get
lame.
it, but all right.
But and Nate, our other guitar player, he plays in that band Immortal Bird.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
their new record's pretty killer.
Exactly. So we had Roman Ring done. We had the Halogen done. Then we did voice. Nate did the Immortal Bird record.
Yeah.
You did the Something Is Waiting album.
And then Wounds did their EP.
Yeah, Franco, our bass player, he plays in that band Wounds. I don't know if you've heard them, but they're on Everlasting Spew Records. They're like a tech death band.
I've never checked them out, but I've heard you talk about them.
Yeah, I feel like you would dig them a lot, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, just like pissed off, clean, like technical death metal. They're awesome, dude.
It's kind of like a Spawn Possession, kind of decapitated
meets like Misery Index type shit. Yeah, it's awesome.
Good. It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
All right.
And Danny, our singer,
that sounds like it'd be right up my alley.
Our singer, he's in Through the Gods of the Dead, and he did their newest record. So that all kind of happened in between, and then like
all dropping.
Yeah, and then everybody was either busy doing their other bands on tour, and then finally, like, I was just like, fuck it, let's just do we were sitting on the Roman Ring thing for so long, I couldn't get any bites from labels, so I was just like, you know what, let's just do it ourselves, and we ended up doing it that way. But yeah, man, I mean, as far as a song that I regret playing, it was probably Flesh to Spell, which is like the 10-minute song on our record that we wrote, which I was like hyped on when we were writing it, and like I had a lot to do, like I came up with a lot of ideas as far as the composition went, but it's so big of a song and it's like such a fucking bitch to get through that it's just like none of us ever want to I never want to do it. You never want to do it. Nate always wants to do it. And sometimes Danny wants to do it. But yeah, like that's the song that like has so many parts to it that whenever we go back and play it, we always fuck something up.
Right.
Like somebody is always like, oh, what's next? And then like, yeah, it's a lot. And that song we've only done live like twice because it's like 10 minutes and it's just like, oh, there's like a quarter or
there's a 30-year set.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, no. But me and Bill actually have been writing a lot of new Roman Ring music in this quarantine. So
sick.
That's been really exciting because it's definitely some ass kicking songs for sure. It's a lot different than what was on the last record, but
definitely going the heavier route.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
A lot more ignorant riffs and some aggro parts. So I think it's coming together very cool, and we're just pumped to like show. Like we've shown it to the other guys, and they're down, but I think we're just excited to hear what everybody else is going to do once we start playing it. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, unfortunately, all of us are in band purgatory right now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude, it's weird.
Yeah, it's very fucking weird because it's like I don't know. I mean, I wonder how many other bands are really going to delay releases of records that are already done. I mean, a handful of bands that I'm friends with have told me that they've delayed their studio dates. Because of all the all the uncertainty, and it just kind of puts everything in such a weird frozen spot, and it sucks because it's like, man, it might be a while till we get to hear some music from our favorite artists, Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean,
it's certainly going to be a while before you see them in a live setting.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, a lot of bands that rely on having the regular tour cycle for an album,
right?
A lot of them are waiting. Like Carcass was going to put out a record, and it's been, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years since their last album. And like,
was Surgical Steel their last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the last one. And it's been a while since that one came out. So,
I think that came out in like 2015 or 2016.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's certainly been a while.
Exactly. So they finally had a record that was done, and then they did a press release saying like, we have to delay this because we're not going to make any money if we put it out now. And I think like Hatebreed did the same thing. And it's just kind of like, I wonder how it is as an artist to sit on something. I mean, we know from Roman Ring, but Roman Ring isn't shit compared to these bands.
Yeah, we're not at that level.
I wonder how it is for a band that really relies on, income, or at least a good chunk of income from touring and playing live and being a band. I mean, a band on a level like Carcass and Hatebreed, they're probably making a lot of fucking money on the road. At least enough to like
on the road.
Come back and maybe not have to work a regular job. But I wonder, I just wonder how it is to be like, oh, fuck, we're going to be they might be sitting on those records for a while,
right?
Yeah.
And some, I mean, probably, delay going in the studio just because, like, obviously that costs money, and money's a concern for a lot of people. Yep. It's like everybody's kind of like holding that down. So
yeah,
I'm sure a lot of projects either hadn't started, or if they had started, they're on hold.
They're frozen. So it's just kind of like
another factor to consider as well is like either bands that independently release stuff that are approaching their release date, or like about to, they have a thing in the bank. They have physicals that are made or vinyl that's already been pressed or whatever, like for bands or even for like labels. Like imagine you have like a 2-month calendar worth of stuff that is to be released that you've already started a production cycle of like getting your vinyl printed or getting albums pressed and stuff like that, like sunk all of that time and money into it. And now you're just like, oh shit, like we have to push this back because it's going to be better for sales that way. But then also we're $20,000 in the hole from getting all of this stuff printed that now we can't do anything with, or whatever. Yeah,
it's scary as fuck, man. Because it's so you never know. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, on the one side of the coin, you gotta. I'm sure during this time where everybody's quarantined, people are craving for new content, especially people who don't have anything to do all day.
I mean, that's why like the streaming thing is like taken off.
Yeah,
like everybody's like streaming something.
Exactly,
and it's awesome. It's cool. I love it. It's a different form of creativity, and it's cool that it's still putting art out in the world. Yeah. That people can get to,
But if you're in a band and you have a new release ready to go, if you're going to put it out during this time, that's you got a lot on the line. It's a big risk.
Yeah, it's a huge risk.
I also think it might be a risk to even hold on, because it's just kind of like, what is the relevancy of that music going to do to your career? And I mean, imagine if you're, let's say you're Hatebreed, you have a new record that's ready to go, but because they already released, I think, a single from it. And they're delaying it. What if they don't put out this record till the end of 2021? Right. As a band, how are you going to feel about now starting a tour cycle for an album that you're already so familiar with? It's just like, how are you guys going to feel about, and what will that say for your future? It's just very.
I mean, it's literally just putting a pause on it.
Exactly.
And you kind of have to go with that mentality, because I don't know, like how many of those bands are, working on stuff. Like maybe they're kind of like doing what we're doing, where half our band's not showing up because of this, and it's kind of slowed things down. But I mean, it's just, you kind of just have to pause it and be like, all right, we'll get back to it when we get back to it, and and just pretend like it never happened, and just go.
One thing that's pretty crazy to think about too is like, so Lorna Shore dropped a new album, was about to drop a new album, had all that shit go down, replaced their vocalist. Or like new album came out, kicked out vocalists, found a new guy on tour in Europe, and then was like, oh shit, we have to cancel the rest of this tour and go back to America because shit's hitting the fan. They're closing borders on Friday.
Oh my God.
And then now terrifying. It's like, you know what I mean? Like their new record is released. They're undoubtedly probably sitting on extra merch, extra physical things that were printed for that tour or whatever, or maybe they're selling shit through Empiricon, or maybe their label just like fronted stuff for it, whatever. I don't know, but undoubtedly, like they're one of those bands that is busy and been very like active. See, that's a name that you see on tour flyers all over the place, and it's one of those things too where, like you were saying, like. They just released an album towards the beginning of this year, and now here we are in April, and no one's able to do shit. No one's going to be doing shit for the next several months. So by that point, it's like people are like, because of the rate that people are consuming media right now, there are probably a lot of people that are big fans of that record that have listened to it a trillion times, like listened to it to death because they've had so much extra time on their hands that now, like, as an artist, you have to wonder, like, well, when we get out, are people still going to be interested in seeing this thing after having digested it for so long, or having all of these other things that have come out of the woodwork to distract them, whether it's, well, now I'm just into really watching Twitch streaming, or now I've moved in this direction, and this band is the band that I'm like super in and super following to right now, or whatever. It's it's a very bizarre time for stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, and you know what? Like, I think Lorna Shore is in a really interesting spot though, because like, do they have a new vocalist now?
I mean, they never announced him as being a full-time vocalist, but the way that I kind of look at it is there aren't many bands that I've seen that, especially with that spot of like vocalists and being a frontman. Yeah. There aren't very many bands that I see that lose that member and then announce that they have a new person without touring with them first.
Yeah, that is true. That's almost always the case. But
if they had a different guy with them in Europe.
I think I remember seeing that, like a video of it or something, or a story of it somewhere. But dude, like the position that band's in, they had, I don't know if you know this, Bill, but their singer went under fire because he did a bunch of creepy shit with women. Something
I think I vaguely remember.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what
we talked about it before.
Yeah, we might have, but they had a new record out done with that singer on it.
Okay.
And they literally kicked him out like a month before it was supposed to drop.
Right. Okay. And so it's kind of coming back to me now.
Everything was put up in the air for them, and they were like, "Oh, are we going to release this? Are we going to delay it? What's going to happen?" They decided to just go ahead and put it out. But now that it's out there, and now that we have this time off, and maybe if they have a new singer, they could be in a position to now make a new record and then have a new, accurate, current representation of the band.
Right, and kind of just sweep that other one under the rug.
So that way it's just kind of like, hey, when we come back from this, bam, new record, new tour cycle. I don't know how easy that is, obviously, and I don't know how they work as a band and if that would be something that would make sense, especially with their label, but,
I don't know. Recording has gotten easier as far as being able to do it on your own.
Yeah, but they're on Century Media now, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and Century Media, from what I've heard, has been giving bands big-ass amounts of money for their records. Oh. So it could also kind of fucking be a pain in the ass now that they have to, pay.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I would be unsure of with that, too, also kind of like harkens back to the vocalist thing. Like, I don't know if the dude that they had that replaced him is
permanent,
going to be full-time or whatever. But then also, I mean, think about it. I can't remember, the last album that they put out before Immortal, I think, was Flesh Coffin.
Okay. I'm not super familiar with their stuff personally, but
I'm familiar with bits and pieces of things. Like I know a little bit, not nearly as much as other people out there, but a little bit. I can't remember the year that Flesh Coffin came out, but one thing that I would personally be super discouraged about something like that, though, is like they put all of this time and effort into making this new album. And then, for death metal bands, the cycle is create a record, give people something to be hyped about, and then you do a bunch of touring on the record so that you can satisfy the fans that know that they like you. And then you can find the people that don't know that they like you yet.
Yeah.
So like they put all of this time and energy and undoubtedly like money into getting this new record made. And then like they literally just had the tour cycle for their record like pulled from under their feet. Like they were literally on a different continent playing their new material when all of this shit hit the fan, and they had to stop the tour, go home, and then now for the foreseeable future like won't be able to do anything. Like
it sucks.
That would like kill me on the inside. Like that is, I feel so terribly for those dudes. Like I haven't met all of them. I did get to meet their guitar player. I've chatted with their drummer Austin a little bit here and there. Everybody in the band that I've talked to at all seems really, really fucking cool.
I've heard good things about those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel really terribly for them that like they worked so hard on something just to like have it pushed out of reach.
That is a good point, especially because like, I mean, all that shit with their vocalist and then them having to go through that and then still decide to put out the record. That's like, that had to be so hard in itself. And then, and that tour they were on was sick. Wasn't it like Decapitated and Aborted and shit?
It was Decapitated, Beyond Creation, and Lorna Shore, and
Aborted wasn't on it?
No, I don't think. No, Aborted wasn't. I think they were 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
So there was like an opener, and then Lorna, and then I feel like there was one other band, and then Beyond Creation, and then Decapitated.
Yeah,
I think
it's a
was the
sick ass tour. Yeah.
Oh, dude, totally. Well, that and like the cool thing about that is like there are so many different flavors. In that tour package, you know. And one of the really sick things about playing in Europe is that typically, I would say 3/4 of the crowd is there for the like by the time the opening band starts playing.
That's awesome.
Like it's like people there buy tickets and they want to see every, even if it's a band that they're like, I don't know that I really like them or I don't like them a ton. Like, I mean, pretty much all the shows that we played in Europe with Archspire, which I know is anecdotal evidence and maybe not indicative of how everything is. But damn near every show that we played there, I would say half to 3/4 of the crowd that was there that night, regardless of the show was sold out or not, was there by the time we started playing, and we were the first band.
Hell yeah!
So,
that's killer. You guys did open that tour?
Yeah. It was the lineup was it was us, and then Vulvodynia, and then Beneath the Massacre, and then Archspire.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Vulvodynia's probably done Europe a couple times at that point, right?
Oh yeah, dude, they've done Europe several times. For sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's a bit of a different climate as far as the fan demographic goes. It was honestly really cool because that entire tour that we did over there was one local band. Out of all the dates that we played, there was only one show that had a local band on it.
Wow.
Yeah, and people just show up because they want to see.
They want to go to a sick show. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very much not like how it is here.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's very different. Very different America. It's like local band 1, 10 people. Local band 2, 15 to 25 people. Is there a third local band? Is the show going to last forever?
Right.
Who knows? Tour band 1, there's like maybe 40, 50 people there, whatever, and then like by the time the second band starts playing is usually when more and more. Yeah.
I'm guilty of that shit. I'll admit it. I'm guilty of definitely timing on when I go to shows. It's not smart all the time. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes I'm getting out of work and I'm like, I can't be there when it starts, But sometimes I definitely am like, I don't really want to sit through 5 bands, but it's definitely cool that people, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you go to a show and it's just an awesome lineup and you end up catching the whole thing and you find something awesome, Yeah. I should be doing that more. Yeah. But I'm an idiot.
It happens. Plus, like you do stuff with your time. You got 2 bands. You got a full-time job.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely guilty of the same thing. Where like usually I'll go and there's like a couple bands that I know for sure that I'm going to see. If I happen to have the day off and I'm like not doing like I don't have work and I'm not doing anything musically. Then I'll go check out like a whole lineup's worth of stuff,
Yeah.
Especially, but like, a lot of other times I'm just like, I really just want to see Between the Bear to me. I know they're going to play for 90 minutes. So,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Well, now I feel like when that band tours, they're not always taking out even a lot of other bands with them,
Yes. Sometimes it's just like 1 or 2.
Yeah. Which is cool because I think time it out.
Absolutely. Honestly, my biggest regret, my 2 biggest regrets with Between the Bear to me, after Colors came out, they were playing the album in its entirety, and I missed that tour because I had a ticket and everything. I missed it because they came around Christmas, and I actually I left Colorado and went to New York to see my dad and my stepmom and my little brother for Christmas that year, and so I missed out on that. And then the second BT Bam regret is they did a tour with Native Construct.
Okay,
and it was
I remember that.
Literally the only chance I would have had to see Native Construct because that was I think they only did like one other tour. I think that was the only show they ever played in Colorado.
Yeah,
at least that I was aware of.
Yeah, I know. And Adrian toured with that band when he was in Outrun the Sunlight. They did a little tour with them. With Native Construct, I don't know if it went to. I don't know where it went, honestly, but yeah, I know that.
Is that how he met Poe?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, cool. That guy is so cool. Amazing guitar player.
Oh, insanely amazing guitar player.
Yeah, dude. Native Construct was like I was obsessed with Quiet World. Like literally, the first time I heard that album, I was like just. I leapt out of my skin. I was just super excited, right? Listened to it on repeat for like weeks. And then they did nothing after a while, and now they're broken up.
Yeah.
So that was my only chance that I ever had to go see them, and I was stuck at work.
Well, hey, maybe they'll do a 10-year reunion for the record down the line. You never know. Didn't Anthony Barone play on that record?
No, I think they actually programmed drums for that record.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he was in that band for a period of time.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know.
I know they auditioned a lot of drummers for stuff. Like Eric W. Brown actually put up a video of him playing the opening track.
Okay.
There's a really cool playthrough that he did for it. It's kind of funny. Like there's this middle section where the drums totally stop, and so in the video that he put up of him playing it, like during that section, he like kind of slumps his head over and he photoshopped like the little like sleeping Z's coming off of his head for it.
Hell yeah.
I know. I was talking to Chasen and they hit him up to try to do a tour for them, but he was busy doing some stuff with the Faceless at the time, so he wasn't able to do it. But yeah, I would have loved to see that. Chasen playing Native Construct. Oh
yeah.
Sick.
That would have been sick. Yeah, he's so fucking... I was watching a video of him today, and I was just like, well, you're way better than I'll ever be, but... yeah.
He is so good.
Did you ever catch him when he was doing Hate Eternal? He only did like 2 tours with them.
Yeah, I saw... Yeah, I caught them in Denver. I'm trying to remember who they were playing with.
Was that with Deicide and shit on that tour? So remember he did a tour with them. That's where I caught him with them.
I honestly can't remember. I think, like, literally every time Chasen ever comes to town, we hang out before the show, and then I watch the band that Chasen plays with, and then him and I, like, go get beers or, like, go do something after their set. So I don't know who they were playing with.
You want to hear a really funny story? They played Reggie's on this tour with Deicide that I was specifically talking about. It was one of those Metal Alliance tours that used to go down. It was actually, I think that was the first time I saw Lorna Shore. It was like Deicide, Entombed, Hate Eternal, Black Crown Initiate, and Lorna Shore. And I remember awesome show. I dragged my girlfriend at the time out there to go see the show with me, and because I know Chasen, and like he guest listed us. I hung out with him. He was so fucking nice, super sick guy. I got to meet Eric Rutan and shit. It was a really good time, and he ended up hitting me up the very next day. He was like, dude, I fucking left my Eric Rutan's drum throne at Reggie's. He was like, would you be able to pick it up for me? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like I got out of work and I just drove over there and I picked it up. And he was just like, yeah, like, let me know. Like, I'll pay you for shipping. I'll pay you for shipping it back. And I was just like, yeah, okay. So I got it and I hit him up. I was like, hey man, like I got the drum throne. Like, you know, let me know what you want to do. And they were still on tour at the point. And he was just like, yeah, like I'll hit you up when I get home and we'll get it all figured out. So that tour ended up falling apart because a bunch of, I don't remember exactly what went down, but like a bunch of bands had to drop. I believe Deicide dropped, and then Hate Eternal tried to continue it, but Eric Rutan like fucked up his arm on tour and they had to drop off. So Chasen apparently quit the band on that tour.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know it. And then I kept hitting, like eventually the tour ended and I hit him up again and I was like, hey dude, like, I still have this drum throne. I was like, do you want me to send it back? And then eventually he told me, he was just like, you know what? Don't worry about it, man. Like, you know what? I'll let you know if anything changes, but you're good to keep it for now. And I was like, okay. And then sure enough, later I found out, like a couple months later, I found out Chasen left Hate Eternal and was playing with the Faceless. And I was just like, I guess this is mine now? And he never hit me up for it. So at home in my room, I have Eric Rutan's drum throne.
Yo, that's sick.
Yeah, it's really funny. I use it all the time. I use it as a little table sometimes.
Yeah, you should just have it in here and we'll hang it on the wall.
Hang it up. It's my spare, man. If anything goes wrong with mine, I have a backup.
That's your backup.
Yeah,
it's also a nice little piece of memorabilia.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a great drum throne too. It's in really good condition because I never use it. And it's brand new. It's like a brand new Gibraltar throne. I'm like, fuck. Sick. Well, this is good to have as a backup. When I bring my practice pad home, I always, use that, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like I have a little throne at home. Awesome. Yeah, it's very funny how that all fucking happened. But
I actually met Adrian and Chasen same day. The very first tour that I ever did was with Veil, and they were both playing with Enfold Darkness.
Yes, okay, so, I remember. Yeah. That's awesome. Wasn't Abiotic on that tour too with their like original lineup?
Yeah. It was John and Matt, who are still both in the band. Ray was the vocalist that they had at the time.
Yeah.
I can't remember their drummer's name, but I just remember that he was always like, if you were like, "What's up, dude?" He'd be like, hanging low. Like he would always just say hanging low like all the time.
Sick, dude. That's awesome.
And then their old bass player, Alex, insane.
Yeah.
Super amazing bass player. He plays with Lilac now.
Okay. Are they still doing shit, that band?
I haven't heard of anything in a while. I mean, I'm sure they're doing about as much as every band is right now.
Yeah.
Given the state of things. But I haven't really heard anything about them in a minute. Who knows? Maybe they were like working on writing something. I know they did like some really sick tours.
Yeah,
for sure. And then now Abiotic has the boy playing on bass, Killian.
Okay.
Dude, have you ever seen anything that he's done?
I've seen some videos on YouTube of him or on Facebook of him like ripping, but that's pretty much it.
Dude, he's a monster.
Yeah.
I think first time I ever saw him play Felix Martin and the Fine Constant came to town. And so I'd never heard of Felix Martin. I went to go see the Fine Constant, and then I watched Felix Martin and Killian destroy. It was just like,
he played in his band?
Yeah, he played bass.
Okay.
So it was I want to say, if I remember correctly, they were a 3-piece. It was Killian, Felix, and then they had a drummer.
And Felix plays some like insane instrument, right? Or is it just regular guitar? Doesn't he play like
the double necked like?
Yeah, he has like the double neck, and like 90% of the stuff that he does is like tapping on both at the same time. So he plays like both parts. Lots of Spanish kind of stuff. He throws in like a lot of percussive accents on things and stuff.
Cool.
It's interesting for sure. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard, but that's awesome, man. Yeah, and now Abiotic's on Artisan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, damn, isn't it a small world?
Yeah, dude, I know, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think one of the funniest things that I kind of ever realized about music was or at least like seen stuff. I used to be in this band called Calculating Genocide.
I remember on MySpace. That's how I first saw you, was like in a Calculating Genocide music video, because you guys were on Veil of Noth's top MySpace friends.
Sick.
Yeah, yeah, man.
But Calculating played this show, and it was us, this band from California called Fate, Enemy Rain, and then Veil of Noth was declining. Dude, Fate was so sick.
I used to love that band.
Yeah, those guys were killer.
Yeah.
Or wait, no, Fate didn't show up. They were on the tour, but they didn't show up.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be Calculating, Fate, at Dawn, this other band from California.
I remember At Dawn. They were dope too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, their guitar players were insane.
Yeah, dude. I used to love that band.
They had that song Making Love, which was like the sickest. And then Enemy Rain and Veil. And with the exception of the two bands from California, I like went on to be in every other band that was on that lineup at one point or another.
That's so funny, man. So, dude,
it's just like, what the fuck?
I loved Fate and I loved At Dawn. And I bet what's funny about that is like those bands from California that weren't like super huge at the time, they would never tour Chicago because it was too far. So I'm sure you guys in Denver always got to see those sick like West Coast bands and shit.
No, that was at least that I was privy to. That was the only opportunity. I can't remember why Fate didn't play that show. Maybe they had something go down. I know they were on that tour. I think that was yeah. Yeah,
I remember they ended up becoming that band Shadow of the Colossus, right? I'm pretty sure.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's what they're named after. They're named after that. But I'm pretty sure at least most of those guys ended up in that band. I could be completely wrong, but I don't know. I know the singer definitely was, because the singer was in Conducting from the Grave, then he was in Fate, and then he...
Oh, dude, that's another super sick band that was based in California, Conducting from the Grave.
Yeah, I remember them very well, man.
When Legends Become Dust is sick, and so was that album they put out, Revenants.
Yeah, I remember. They were on Sumerian. They were like Sumerian's like flagship metal band. I remember. Yeah. Like, because every other band every other band was, I don't know, like, you know, your Veil of Maya, your After the Burial, your Bone of Osiris. And I remember listening to the Conducting from the Grave, and I was like, this is sick because there's no breakdowns. It's fucking riffs all the time. But
there's some breakdowns.
They had plenty. They did have
there's more there's more space between them. Like they built into them rather than just like broke into them.
Yeah, I liked all that shit though. I mean, I liked all the Sumerian bands at the time, so you know, you get what you get, I guess. But yeah, I remember being stoked on Conducting from the Grave because I liked them a lot. I found them, dude, I was obsessed with that first Veil of Nath EP that was on like Tribunal Records or whatever.
Yeah, dude, their EP is like probably still some of them, like their EP, like their newest EP, Accursed, is really sick.
It is good.
Their OG EP and Prodigal are like still by far my favorite things that they've done.
Yeah, the EP like hits home for me, man. I used to message Vance and I can't even remember his name. The other guitar player at the time, Mikey Reed. Yeah, Mikey. Yeah. I used to message them on AOL Instant Messenger, telling them how fucking sick I thought their EP was, and they like totally. Dude, Carcosa was awesome, dude.
Is the jam.
Yeah.
Oh god, that song is so sick.
Yeah, Vance was super nice to me like back then. I mean, he's still super cool to me now, and we still talk and shit. And it's like crazy that like. I loved that EP in high school, dude. I made all my fucking friends listen to it. Like, I remember being like, this is what we need to sound like, and like all kinds of shit like that. My band sounded nothing like that at the time.
Your friends were probably just like, why do you hate me like that? You want me to play that? That's so hard.
Yeah, we all thought it was so sick, man. But I remember, I remember I would talk to Mikey, and Mikey was always just kind of like, he did not give a fuck. He was just like, yeah, it sucks, whatever. Like, he was so like, very much like he would always just like make fun of the band. Like he would like, I remember at one point, like I told him, because we were talking about the like his EP, and he was making fun of whoever their vocalist was at the time. He's like, yeah, the dude doesn't even write lyrics in like complete sentences. Like,
oh, David Lurcher. I remember Mikey. I definitely remember Mikey like having some rants about that dude for sure.
That's so funny, man. Yeah.
My very first impression of David was like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, David's super cool, but I met him at a party in high school, and him and my foster brother were about to start throwing like punches over something that I don't remember what. I just remember that it was really fucking stupid, and I was like, man, there is way too much ego in the room right now.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, like that was like my first impression of him. So then after a while, I was kind of just like, what's going on with this guy? Like, you know, because it's like my brother. So obviously,
yeah, you're going to take that side.
I'm going to, yeah, exactly. But then like once him and I actually like talked to each other and like started like chatting and shit, I was like, dude, this guy's cool as fuck. Like, must have just been one of those things where like we were young and drunk, etc. And, you know, some people got heated about some dumb shit that didn't matter.
That's funny, man. Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know. Does that dude do anything now? Does he do any music stuff?
Nah.
Yeah.
No.
I remember I saw a really old live video of Veil of Nath covering Thy Horror Cosmic by Black Dahlia. And like that singer before the song, he's like, all right, this is a cover. If you know it, enjoy it. If you don't know it, enjoy it. And then they just like go into it. And I thought it was really funny at the time. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy like how far everybody has come since like then. You know what I mean? Like what everybody's doing now. So crazy that like, I mean, a lot of those bands are like leading, you know, like leading some of their respective fields in metal. It's so crazy to see like all that shit. It's cool. It's definitely really cool.
Yeah, dude. I honestly was really bummed that I didn't get a chance to see them play with Dark Funeral last year.
Oh yeah, I went to that show. Vance actually put me on the list for that show. I'm pretty sure. That was that was one of those tours I was going to go to no matter what, because I love Dark Funeral and I love Belphegor. Like I love both of those bands. And Vance I think Vance hit me up. He's like, yo, are you coming to the show? I was like, yeah, I'm coming to the show. And he's like, oh, I'll put you on the list. And I got to hang out with those guys. And Travis from Abiotic was filling in for Veil at the time. And I know him as well. Yep. He's a super nice guy. So it was cool hitting it off with those dudes and then seeing all these like insane bands play blast beats and shit. And actually, that's where I first met Simon from Nightmare, the guitar player. I got to meet him at that show, and he was.
That was the. They were the opening band for that, right?
Yeah, I love that band, and I'm a big fan of Simon's work because he used to be in this band, War from a Harlot's Mouth, back in the day, and I was huge on them. So it was awesome to get to like meet and talk to that dude. So very cool shit.
I was on tour when that tour package came through Colorado. So I was just like, no Dark Funeral for me.
Yeah. Man, I think that was my first time seeing that band, Dark Funeral, and it was killer, dude.
Yeah, I've still never seen them because that's the only time that I could really think of that they were like around at that point. So.
Yeah, they don't tour North America all that much.
Mm-mm.
But dude, that's rare. Like that was a Defense tour, and that was like that show sold out in Chicago, which is a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was at Concord Music Hall.
Holy shit!
Yeah, which is a huge, bigger venue in Chicago for metal bands. Like,
what's the cap? Like 1,200?
Oh,
that was where Summer Slaughter was.
Yeah,
played, right?
Do you think so?
Yeah, I'd say 12 to 13.
Yeah, 12 to 13 most likely. Yeah, it's big.
It's a big room. And a balcony too.
Yep, and a balcony. It's very big, and it's like that's where we played. Warforged played there. The Summer Slaughter that Dahlia did all of Nocturnal, and like that to this day is the only show that we actually had people move our gear for us. They have like
fuck yeah.
They have loaders there that like take all you park your van in the back. They take all your gear out and put it up in an elevator for you and like get you set up in a little section for you to put up your gear. And it was so fucking nice. Yeah.
Best, yeah.
It was killer, dude.
One of the perks of having unions in Chicago.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It was. That's the only time I've ever seen that happen in my entire life.
If you ever get to play House of Blues, they do that.
Yeah.
They're big on that.
Yeah. Anyway, we've taken up a shitload of your time, man. How far are we?
3.
Okay, we're at 3 hours. Yeah, we should probably call it, man.
Word.
But hey, dude.
Well,
it was sweet talking to you.
Yeah, it was great hanging out. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. You were a killer guest, man. This was awesome, dude.
Man. Thank you. It was great meeting you.
Yeah, great to meet you as well.
Yeah, man.
So
we want to is there anything you want to plug?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a vocalist for 4 different bands. So if you haven't checked out Inferi, Tethys, Equipoise, and Ashen Horde already, I would definitely, suggest that you do so. If you have what I would refer to as a quality taste in music, a lot of it is within the technical death metal spectrum. But there are definitely some outlier things like Tethys is a little heavier, a little more heavy kind of riffage and stuff like that than the other bands. And Ashen Horde is definitely more in the raw kind of black metal variety. So yeah, check it out.
Hell yeah, man. Well, sweet, dude. Thank you for coming on the show, dude.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me. Have a great night, guys.
Yeah, you too, man. Peace out. Be safe.
You do the same.
All right. Later. See you, man.
Anything you got to plug, Jason?
No. Watch Nothing's for No One and subscribe, you fuckers. Yeah, listen to us. Next week, we're going to do a special episode where I just berate everybody constantly and call out everybody that if you think I like you, guess what? I fucking hate you. I'm just kidding.
Next week we do have Brian from Thieves.
Is he Skyping in?
Yeah, he's gonna Skype in, which will be awesome. So then it's down to 2 last members we gotta get on the show.
Yeah,
that's Vince and Greg. So originally Vince and Brian were gonna do it.
So then will the next episode be the death metal one then with Nate?
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah, couple him with albums. I'll talk to him this week and get him
cool and
up to speed.
He does know how to Skype, so we should be good. Right?
Yeah, we might have to do. I think he does know how to do Skype, and he has Facebook Messenger, so we could always do that type of video.
Either one works. Yeah,
I'm sure he'll be down. So yeah,
cool. That's it. Yeah, and as always, check out.
I got a plug.
Warforged, Something Is Waiting. What's up?
Our buddies, formerly Epitasis, now known as Carrion Throne, just dropped their new single today on YouTube. I wish I knew what the song was called off the top of my head, but I don't. But it is awesome. A podcast alumni who you saw a couple weeks ago, Paul Alukalese, recorded it and mixed and mastered it, I want to say. He did a lot of it. I know that. Yeah. So if you're looking to check out something new Paul did, and if you're just looking for some sick death metal, listen to this song because I'm 100% unbiased, not just trying to be nice. I do think it's actually really fucking sick.
Yeah,
it's awesome. So maybe we can link it or something.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
And,
I try to put stuff on YouTube. I've kind of been slacking on it, which apologies, everybody.
That's all good.
It's a pain in the ass when I like upload this thing and then it crashes and I'm like, oh, now I got to rewrite everything I just wrote. And it's like, I'll just wait till it's done. And then when it's done, I fucking forget. So,
well, we'll do something. But yeah, check that out. That's new. Yeah, it's pretty much all I have to plug at the moment.
Nice. Yeah, it's, like I said, just check out our bands.
Yeah, Roman Reign, the Helligen. Buy it, please. Give us your money. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's it. All right.
All right.
We'll see everybody.
Next week we got Brian from Thieves, and
Right.
Well, thank you for listening, y'all.
Bye.
See ya. All right, do I got to do the plug?
Yeah, you can do the plug.
Hi, it's me again. Were you sick of me for 3 hours? I bet you fucking weren't. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you guys checking this out during this time of great uncertainty. And while you're sitting on your ass listening to this fucking episode, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell me everything you like about me. If you have a crush on me, comment below. If you want, you can message me directly even on Instagram or maybe Facebook. If you have any gifts for me or Bill, please feel free to send them. We're going to post our addresses below, in the link below. I don't know where, but you'll see it. If you had a crush on me or Bill, send it our way. Or give us a love note. Whatever you want to do, honestly. But yeah, like, subscribe. Please fucking follow us. We just want to get a custom YouTube. You could even unfollow us after. As long as we get our custom URL after 100, we should be good. They're not going to go back on us. They don't double back. Well, I'm saying it now. So I'm willing it into existence. We got to be close. Please.
27.
We just need 27. Come on, 27 of you motherfuckers, please just subscribe. You don't even use YouTube that much anyway. You know it, guys. So you know what? Just subscribe. We only post one video a week, so you'll only see that. And if you already listen to us as is, you'll want to listen to it anyway. So just fucking hit that button. Come on! All right. Thanks, guys.
Perfect.
Keep it clean and sanitized. And eat like a good cereal you like or something. All right. Thanks. Bye.